Playoffs, baby.
Woo! Welcome, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. I feel you this morning. I feel a lot of you this morning listening. And for that, I'm very, very appreciative. I saw a lot of tweets last night, and I love those tweets so much. Oh, I can't wait for Ben and Woods. I see them, though, and I'm like, you better bring it tomorrow. You better bring it. I'm laying in bed last night going, you better bring it tomorrow. I'll tell you what, man. We are just an instrument for the team that has brought it so many times this season. I could not be happier for, more impressed by, more proud of our San Diego Padres. They're going to the playoffs, boys, and that is just not something I had in the cards this year. I hoped and I hoped and I hoped, and now I'm watching it going, yeah, that ain't enough. Playoffs is not enough for this team. Welcome in. You're listening to Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Man, so happy this morning. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Rindo, the executive producer. Good morning, Paulie.
Good morning. Great morning.
Benjamin Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. Good morning, Benjamin.
Good morning. I mean, we were lined up for an epic morning, and then they turned to triple play to clinch a playoff spot.
Uno, dos, tres. Your own triple play in here this morning. LFGSD Padres says, finally see these foos in some Padres jerseys. We're not big jersey guys, but we wear, well, we're always a merch on, I think. I didn't even wear my jersey today. You guys didn't tell me you guys were wearing jerseys. I would have
needed the reminder.
I would have worn one, but I do have my Slam Diego shirt on, and man, I'll be on. Can I be honest with you guys of what I did this morning when I woke up?
You did. So you went to sleep at some point.
I
wasn't 100% sure if that was going to happen or not. I know you'd be so wired at the end of that game. I had trouble going to sleep myself.
I timed it out beautifully, and I got home. We did a little unofficial watch party last night with some buddies at a place called the Bermuda Club. And it's a really cool place. They got golf simulators, and there was a taco truck, and we just went, big screens, we went and watched the game. There's maybe 20 of us, and Benny was there. Paulie was playing basketball, and it's up in Carlsbad. So we went and saw some dear friends and watched a little bit of the game. So I left in the fifth, after the fifth was over.
Yes.
Got in the car, listened to the sixth, got home, had to roll the garbage cans out and do a bunch of stuff, got inside, and as soon as I walked in the door, Bobo was passed out in my bed. I picked him up, carried him to bed, tucked him in, came in, popped my Ambien. Right then. So about mid-seventh.
Uh-oh.
So I'm trying to time this thing out beautifully. And so because I knew I'm going to be wired. If they win, and if they lose, I may not sleep for days. So I timed it out perfectly. Last out was made. Watched 30 seconds and went to sleep. So I actually feel pretty good this morning. But I woke up this morning, and I walked into the closet, and I was thumbing through all of my Padres merch and deciding, what should I wear today? And I have a shirt that I got when our beloved owner passed away, and it's my Papa Pete shirt. And I took it out of the off the hanger, and I put it on, and it was
Little tight.
It was
A little
skin tight.
Shrunk in the wash, obviously.
Skin tight. It was like somebody. Now it's made out of, I think, cotton and polyester, but this felt and looked like spandex. And I went, well, I would like to wear that, but I'm not going to wear that because it's not going to be comfortable. B, I'm going to look like a hot dog that's been left in the microwave. And I said, I can't do it. So I repped this one, Slam Diego, California. I love it. Just in a really, really good mood this morning. And I got to tell you, man, Benny, I think my dad, Gary Woods, I think he's converted 100%. Because I woke up
Yankees fan for life, essentially.
His dad was a Yankee fan, went to college in Manhattan, grew up watching Joe D play. My dad grew up in Detroit, hated the Tigers, loved the Yankees because his dad did. Grew up watching the Mick play. When I met my dad in 1985, he said, I'm a Yankee fan. I said, I don't know S about baseball. I'm with you. Grew up watching Mattingly and Jeter play. I mean, I could not care less what happens to them now. My dad, I feel like he's the same way. I woke up to a slew of texts from him this morning. He said the other day, he's like, I am just in. I am just all in on this team. I said, it's really hard not to be.
I know you're not going to believe this. I actually got a call from my dad. We never talk on the phone.
No way.
We see each other in person a lot and text, but the call, the two of us aren't phone talkers, but after the triple play, he actually picked up the phone, called me. I mean, most of our, bonding childhood came at Padres games,
Of
so that was
course.
a big moment for us. We've only seen a few playoff clinchers in our lifetime, so he had to call and just say, I mean, was that not one of the most amazing things you've ever seen? And of course, it absolutely was. That was very special last night.
It was. It was cool to get
Sounds
this.
like a very special moment for both of you guys with your fathers.
You had to make it awkward, Polly.
Well, I'm going to sit in it for a minute. Just gonna let it wash over.
We just need Mud to adopt Paul or
I'm going to
something.
start calling Gary on my way in.
You could. He's up. They're up. Both my parents. It's the one, oh, God, Paulie, when you do that to us, it kills me. It just kills me. Paulie, it's not your fault. Okay? It's not your fault. I'm serious. It's not your fault. All right? You can call me anytime in the morning.
Thanks, Dad.
It's just a dagger, just a straight, from a distance. He's behind a tree and he goes, and it's like a Chinese star, and you go, ah, and he just gets right in the kidney. And you're like, oh, that son of a bitch got me again. Holy cow, man! What a great night! What a great night! But listen, I think it is important to let everybody know the job is not finished by a long stretch, but. Today, definitely a day of reflection. I thought about it, man. I was like, Paulie, go pull our thoughts on this, what we expected out of this team. And I think to a man, we're like, man, sure hope that 82 wins could get you in because I just don't see anything more than that. But man, they have continued to prove me wrong, you wrong, Paulie wrong, all of us wrong, all season long. And to watch what they're able to do last night, getting down, not letting it spiral, the whole thing, just so much credit to go out. And yes, of course, guys, I mean, I see you. I see your little PPs in the chat. Just, boop, I see it. Of course, we have to talk about Robert Suarez again. Of course, we're going to mention it. It ain't all sunshine and rainbows. But, man, the underlying constant theme of the San Diego Padres in the year 2024 is pick your brother up. Pick your brother up. When your brother makes a mistake, you pick your brother up. Xander Bogaerts got picked up. Crony's gotten picked up. Manny's gotten picked up. Higgy's gotten picked up. And everybody is picking their brother up. And it just, you can't quantify that, man. And it is just so special.
I just want to say here in the open, because would you guys agree that I'm the skeptic generally of the show? I don't believe in the UFOs and the aliens and the ghosts, and you got to prove it to me logically to convince me. You need to come with facts and a logical, scientific argument if you're going to convince me. So as much as I thought the sentiment of doing it for Peter Seidler could inspire the team, the idea of someone just above, throwing magic on this season was never something you were going to be able to convince me of, because how can you do that logically? I don't know what else to say other than someone is looking over the Padres this season. I've watched every year of my life, and I've never seen anything like this. I mean, maybe it's just the most incredible coincidence of all time, but you take a franchise who year after year is defined by failure and heartbreak and bad things happening to them, which happens because it's baseball, and a lot of bad things happen to you in baseball. And you just have magical moment after magical moment after magical moment. I mean, we've had 20 years worth of magical moments, all in this season. I mean, what else can you ascribe it to? Yes, the players,
are great,
the coaches, all of them, yes. But there is feels like there's a heavenly touch upon this season. And I can't deny it at this point. The skeptic in me says something is going on here that I cannot explain with the Padres.
Brushing my teeth to get ready to go down to meet you last night, Benny. And I was listening to something, and they had a Padres commercial on. Dylan Cease throws a no-hitter. And I go, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He threw a no-hitter. You know what I mean? Like you said, 20 years of memories rolled into one. But, you know, again, I still don't get the sense that this team is done. And I've just enjoyed, and I'm going to enjoy what I've seen so far. I'm not going to get too spun out about what's to come. I enjoyed that game last night. I really did. I enjoyed that game down 1-0. I knew we could get back. Once they held it to one run, I knew we can get back. I'm not even worried about this. And I said it kind of in passing on Monday. I'm just not really worried about these guys and anybody up and down the lineup. I'm just not. I'm not worried. I believe in all of them, and it's a weird feeling, man. And I hated that error by Xander Bogaerts last night. I sure did. But, you know, did he redeem himself? Yes. Was he picked up? Yes. Crony picked him up, you know. And I'm not worried about Cronenworth. I'm a little bit worried about Suarez, but I just, again, I believe that he can get the job done.
Cronenworth is a perfect example. Did I read he did not have an RBI all September?
Yeah,
insane.
And then he shows up
3
and just
RBIs in
balls
September.
out.
And the defense, bro, the defensive play. He's a baseball player. And you look at his crap numbers and you go, yeah, guy still has 80 RBI. He's played multiple positions. He moves up and down the lineup. He's our guy, dude. Like, I just love them and I believe in them. And it is just a weird headspace to be in.
I think, though, the one that got me this morning, the tweet that is going around from OptaStats, it said in MLB,
This is bananas.
in MLB history, there have been over 700 triple plays turned. So in, 150 years, that means there's 5 or so a season. 300 no-hitters thrown. So about 2 a season, no-hitters. Over 300 sets of back-to-back-to-back home runs. So that's something that happens 2 or 3 times a season, and 100 comeback wins from 8 runs down. So that's something that happens less than once a year. Only one team has ever done all 4 in the same season, the 2024 San Diego Padres.
Like you said, man, years and years of moments and magical memories packed into, that season's not even over yet. Like, 157 games they played. They got 5 to go. It's not even over yet. So what's going to happen tonight? That's something we can look at, certainly. But just kudos to A.J. Preller and to Mike Schilt and the rest of the players, man. The players. Just dominating. And I'll tell you, man, you know how I feel about Manny Machado. That dude is one of one. There's nobody like him. Nobody. One of one makes that play last night. One. Did you see that feed? If you had to draw it up, there's not another third baseman on the planet that turns that triple play like he does. Not one. He's one of one, and he's ours. It's bananas, man. Bananas to watch. I am amazed at what this team did last night.
And also, let me throw in the fans as well, who have been so phenomenal, not just at home setting a new attendance record, but I saw a ton of brown and yellow up there at Dodger Stadium, putting your life on the line, going up to Dodger Stadium for that game last night. I could hear you.
Yeah, we heard you.
During the game when the Padres did something good. It got loud there at Dodger Stadium. That was very impressive, and you fans have been impressive all season long.
Brought it. Bring it online. You bring it in the chat. You bring it to this radio show. You bring it to Petco Park. Let's keep these vibes rolling, man. Seriously. Let's keep them rolling.
We will have plenty to discuss on last night's game and the Padres looking forward on the program today. We'll set the menu for the program when we come back next, but let's just keep it moving. It is the Padres Clinch Wednesday morning with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station. Kelly's got traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else. Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
Been doing a magic number update at our 620 segment every morning. So here it comes. Zero. Magic number to clinch a playoff spot is 0 for your San Diego Padres.
Clinched. Don't need it.
They have clinched. Now you move on to your divisional magic number. The Dodgers' magic number remains, I believe, at 4 to clinch the division. They did not lower it at all. They need wins and Padres losses, and they got neither of those last night. So Dodgers would need to win both of the remaining games in the series to clinch before the Padres leave town. Of course, the Padres have their sights set on winning the next 2, which would give them the lead in the National League West going into the final series of the season. And very important, remains in play. That first-round bye remains in play for the San Diego Padres. Home field advantage in the wild card round. If you don't win the division, looking pretty good after last night. Update of the standings. Padres now with a 4-game lead over the New York Mets, who lost to the Atlanta Braves last night, 5-1, and a 4.5-game lead over the Arizona Diamondbacks, who got curb stomped by the San Francisco Giants 11-0 on their home field. Giants hit 5 home runs in that game. The Braves now just a half game behind the Diamondbacks for the final playoff spot in the National League. So things getting very interesting with just 5 games remaining in the season. So we'll see what happens. Diamondbacks have one more against the Giants today. Then they have an off day. They have 4 games left. Other teams all have 5 games left. They'll continue the Mets and Braves series this afternoon as well with Chris Sale on the mound. They win that, Braves could be back in a playoff position by the end of the day if they get a little help from the Giants again, who in typical Bob Melvin fashion, have gotten red hot as soon as the Giants were eliminated from playoff contention. Sound familiar, Padres fans?
So familiar. And, you know, the Padres got hot in the playoffs a couple of years ago with Bob Melvin and struggled down the stretch. And again, kind of backed in, but was not a very climactic win when the Padres made it in 22. Last night absolutely was. You needed to win a game in a hostile environment against a good team, and you went in there and you handled business, and it was spectacular, and your destiny is in your hands, and that's, I think, what you're already in, so relax, breathe easy. Yeah, it's going to be fun, but it does take a little of the pressure off tonight, which they may need after the celebration last night. Certainly, we can talk about that. I don't know how much was swallowed, Ben. They could have spat all of it out.
That's what I said. Spray, don't swallow.
Sprayers are quitters.
But I think some might trickle in. It's an accident.
A little bit.
Trickled in.
Jeremiah Estrada doesn't drink. He was having Pedialyte during the celebration.
What a sweet angel he is. Look at him. Well, knowing, like, he threw one pitch, so
he's ready
to go today. I saw Tatis doing some spitting, some Haktua in there for sure last night, but listen, my advice to them would have been, you stay away from the champagne entirely, and all you're going to get with Bud, if you're just drinking Bud heavy, just be a little bit of, in the morning, like a little bit of hot snakes. But other than that, like, you're good.
Yeah, the champagne hangover is not a good one, though, if you have too much of that.
You can have a bottle of $5,000 champagne, and you're going to get the same hangover as a $7 bottle of Mums. I got a whole bunch of Mums. It's the worst thing that you can. It's like poison in your body, and it never ceases to give me. I'll have one sip. Hey, how are you? Get married. Cheers. One sip of champagne. The next day, I'm like, it's just the worst. That Bud Heavy though, you're good. These guys will be good. They'll sleep it off till about 11. They'll all go sit in the cold tub. They'll go in the sauna, sweat it out. They'll be ready to roll.
Yeah, in this
tonight.
instance, the fact that the Dodgers play the latest game possible is probably a good thing for the Padres, who get the most time they could possibly get to recover and get ready for today's game. And honestly, as long as Dylan Cease is feeling okay, Padres will have a chance tonight with him on the mound as they continue that series at 7-10.
And one thing I've learned from talking to a bunch in my life, baseball players, they're pretty good at playing hungover. They're pretty good at it. It's something that a lot of them
would be surprised.
They're pretty good at playing not at 100%.
Except for C.J. Abrams, wasn't given the chance to play after.
I don't even know if he was drunk. I think he was just on a gambling heater.
I mean, he might have had a great game that day. You never know, but they didn't give him the opportunity. All right, here's what we've got coming up. Obviously, our Padres wrap-up is next. I know everyone's very excited. And, yes, we have all the calls of the triple play. If you missed any of them, Don's call was great. I think Jesse's call was absolutely legendary. I tweeted, like, my great-grandkids will hear that call in Padres, montages, in history, the way you hear important moments. That one will live on forever from Jesse. Eduardo Ortega, great call on the Spanish language. And, yes, we have the Dodgers version and the Korean version, which might surprise you a little bit as well, coming up of the triple play last night. We'll go through the entire game in our Padres wrap-up. In our 7 o'clock hour, we'll play a little Take on Woods. Woods has a television segment he's going to have to do, working in and around that Going to be okay going on TV this
Look
morning?
at you guys. I saw you on TV.
Yeah,
yesterday.
you did great.
Thank you.
Now you're going on TV this morning.
Oh, Chris, yeah, you'll absolutely hear the Dodger broadcast. 1,000%. We got a lot of good audio regarding the Dodgers.
We have too much audio.
We have
too much.
We have all the interviews that Tony Gwynn Jr. did in the clubhouse last night, in the champagne-soaked clubhouse. We'll bring some of those to you. I know you got fired up by Jackson Merrill in there as a 21-year-old celebrating in his first season. I mean, hopefully the kid knows nothing other than celebrations at the end of seasons for his entire career, which is spent entirely with the San Diego Padres. And this is just one of many, many, many celebrations for Jackson Merrill.
I can't. His quotes this morning, I woke up early and I opened my phone because, I went to bed before the celebrations. I knew if I stayed up watching it, I'd probably start imbibing myself. Like, I'm just going to go in the kitchen, grab a cold Tier 1 from Virgin out of the fridge and take it to the Dome. So I turned it off knowing I got to come in and do a show. And when I watched Jackson Merrill's comments at 3 o'clock this morning, I immediately got out of bed and came to attack the day because that kid had me fired up talking about Manny Machado and just the rest of his guys and how he loves everybody. Those are his brothers. It was just, he's great. He's great.
It's also a Big League Wednesday. Adam Jones was tweeting about his friend Manny Machado's triple play last night. He's actually here in town, but guess what? Coming up at 8:35, Adam's going to call in. Bret Boone's coming in studio today and joining us on a Big League Wednesday. What a perfect day for that. We're going to have Boone sitting right here with us to talk about actually in the entire 8 o'clock, 8 to 8:30 hour. 8 o'clock hour. All right, that's even better on a Big League Wednesday for the entire hour. And then we'll wrap it up with the Rindle Report in our 9 o'clock hour and get you ready for Game 2 of the Padres-Dodgers series in L.A. tonight. Sammy Levitt did a great job. Where Sammy goes, the champagne flows, and it was flowing last night all over Sam Levitt as well in the Padres clubhouse. So we'll get to all of it, starting with our Padres wrap-up of yesterday's 4-2 playoff clinching win for your San Diego Padres.
Playoffs.
Coming up next.
Playoffs?
On San Diego's #1 sports station. Ben Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Yeah, I mean, Duke gets heckled more than anybody here. You know, nobody likes him here, and it's awesome to see him come here and just be himself and dominate, you know? And I love it. I love that passion he has and all the fight he puts into every single game, all the work he puts in. No one should ever call him lazy. No one should ever bag on him for the work he does because he works harder than any in here.
Jackson Merrill has Woods in all the feels this morning, talking about Manny Machado in the post-game celebration last night.
This is Jackson Merrill.
Imagine still having to sell that guy to this fan base some days. It's shocking to me.
If,
it will never be shocking to me.
I'd imagine
it will never not be shocking.
No, I'd imagine there's a good chunk of the audience this morning who were watching the game last night and didn't go on social media and have yet to hear Jesse Agler's version of the ending call. So I'm not going to waste any more time. We're going to get to our Padres wrap-up, in which you will hear all the calls, including the final triple play from our very own Jesse Agler, coming up right after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is brought to you by Kearney Mesa Volkswagen. You guys got a few problems here. Northbound side of the 805 before 43rd. Crash blocking the HOV lane. I also want to mention some street closures in the Grant Hill area, all due to a SWAT standoff. This is centered around 25th and J, so you want to avoid that area. Couple of problems in the North County. Northbound side of the 15 past Via Rancho Parkway. There is a stalled vehicle over the right shoulder. And West 78 still clearing an accident before College. Those cars are over the right shoulder. Batter up San Diego. Kearney Mesa Volkswagen's pitching unbeatable deals. Score a 2024 Tiguan S for $259 per month or a Jetta S sedan for just $179. It's a home run for your wallet. Find your ultimate VW at VWofKearneyMesa.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Is it
extra sweet because this is against the Dodgers.
I love winning, man. I love winning. You hear what I'm saying? It's like better than losing.
Oh my God, I'm so stiff.
Miss any of the Padres win yesterday? Ben and Woods didn't.
What up, crew?
We've got you covered with all of the highlights.
I like it when the Padres win.
Yeah! Yeah!
It's the Padres Wrap-Up, presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino, fun above all else.
Yeah!
Give me a do damage.
Do damage.
2-1 from King. A right-hander delivers, bat swings, it's a ground ball to shortstop. His old Red Sox teammate Xander Bogaerts has it, and he airmails it over Solano. It'll go out of play. Ohtani's going to get to come in and score. Betts will go to second, and on a throwing/catching error, the Dodgers get the first run of the night. 1-1 pitch into the air down the right field line, hooking towards the little wall. This one gonna go! Jake Cronenworth, a 2-run homer, and the Padres a 2-1 lead. The 1-2 pitch swung on and missed, strike 3. Mets will leave him loaded as King collects his 200th strikeout of the 2024 season. No runs, a hit, 3 left. Will go to the third. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Xander, hard hit on the ground and beyond the dive of the shortstop Rojas into left field. Profar will score. Bogaerts an RBI single, and the Padre lead is 3-1. 3-2 again. Cronenworth lines it towards left center field. Hernandez long run, not going to get there. Hits up against the wall on one hop. Bogaerts has scored. Cronenworth into second with an RBI double, and the Padre lead is 4-1. 2-1, hit in the air to left center field. Merrill and Profar coming. Jurickson diving forward, and he rolls over and makes the catch. Jurickson Profar comes in and takes a hit away from Shohei Ohtani. 0-2 pitch. Ohtani swings and misses, strike 3. Ran 99 in on his hands, and that's all for the Dodgers in the 7th. Adam Reddy, the 2-2 pitch in on a line to left field. Profar charging in, dives towards the line. Did he make the catch? Yes, he did. For the second time tonight, Profar lays out in left. And there's one down in the bottom of the 8th. And you got to figure, or at least wonder, is the plan then for Suarez to not get the opportunity to face Shohei Ohtani? Best case scenario, obviously, would be Miguel Rojas somehow hits into a triple play. But that's probably asking for a bit much.
A few moments later.
0-1. Swinging away, ground ball to Machado. He hits third, that's one. Goes to second in time, on to first, a triple play! A triple play! And the ball game is over! The Padres clinch a postseason berth on a 5-4-3 triple play.
Oh,
Good God, man.
Come on.
even I need a cigarette after that. That was. That was amazing. Jesse, that was fantastic. Ooh. Just like willing it into existence.
He did it with the double play earlier in the season.
Yeah, he called
that.
Yeah,
the 6-4-3 or whatever. He's a witch. He's our Castellanos, whatever. Keep it up, Jesse.
He's also very observant. I mean, even Jesse couldn't believe, even in this magical season. I mean, a triple play is probably too much to ask for here, but wouldn't that be perfect to keep Shohei Ohtani in the on-deck circle at the end of the game? And they did. I mean, it had to be the perfect hit ball. Manny, I mean, there was a lot that happened in that at-bat.
There was a ton. There was
Miguel
a
Rojas was called. They called a bunt. Did not get it down on the first pitch. Manny pinched in a little bit tighter, which changed the plan of the Dodgers. They saw Manny in and Xander Bogaerts, and Miguel Rojas talked about this after the game. Bogaerts cheating over toward third, so he knew, all right, if 100 miles an hour is going to be bunted pretty hard. If I bunt it back at all toward Manny or the pitcher, they're going to get a force out. So they took the bunt play off. Now, Manny pinched in a little bit, so there was really only one spot you could hit it. He had to be slightly to his right, so it was taking him right to the bag at third to even think about this. And this is all instinctual for Manny. knowing who the runner is, and he goes, I know there was a fast runner at second, but felt it was worth a try because we could still get the runner at first, even if I didn't get that guy at second.
The baseball IQ,
This all
man.
goes through Manny's head in a fraction of a second as the ball is hit to him, and he makes that decision. I can get to third. I can get it to second. They can get it to first. We're going to get at least 2, and if we pull this off perfectly, we're going to get 3 and finish the game. Maybe an eighth of a second, that goes through Manny's head, and he makes that decision.
The wherewithal, the baseball IQ, it's unmatched.
Think about it again. It's a 4-2 game. Runners are on first and second. Miggy Rojas squares to bunt. So you got to be in. You got to be expecting the bunt. Manny's still expecting the bunt there. He's still expecting it. So he's in. He's in on the grass. Normal, if I'm playing third, grounder to me, I just turn.
You're also in front of the bag.
Right. I run to the bag. I get my out at third, my force out, and then I try to unleash one across the diamond to the first baseman. So
you're not thinking triple play.
You're not thinking, and you're certainly not going to think, I got to run over, then I got to turn my whole body over, sling a perfect throw to Crony. I mean, the throw was on a rope, as it always is. Crony with a brilliant turn as well. And then to get the very slow Miguel Rojas, it just... every time you settle for 2 outs there, every single time, 100% of the time, you just think,
then,
give me my 2.
And then we walk Ohtani and
take my chances.
Take your chances. Still Mookie Betts. You got an MVP coming up, but the best case scenario played out with that triple play as the Padres clinched the playoff berth. Wow.
I've never seen anything like that.
You won't see it again.
I've never seen anything like this, dude.
You won't see it again. A playoff clinching, game-ending triple play. It never happened in baseball history. Likely will never happen again.
Now,
that's a once-in-a-lifetime sort of event.
Let's put our Dodger fan hats on. And if you're the Dodgers, aren't you absolutely livid that Dave Roberts took that bunt off? Because he did. He said he took that bunt off with the 9-hole hitter with Shohei Ohtani coming up with the tying run, then going to be sacrificed over to second base. Now, again, you know they're going to walk Shohei. I say that even though Wandy friggin' Peralta was up throwing in the pen and no one else. So maybe they would have gone after Shohei. If they had gone after Shohei with Wandy Peralta, we would have been losing our minds in here this morning. But I do think Mr. Hates bunting. With that guy on deck and Miggy Rojas up, who had already hit into a ground out, a double play, and now a triple play, nice cycle for him. Yes, I'm livid. I'm livid that Roberts took that off. I'm livid. Like, bro, get the bunt down. Fine. Oh, they're going to walk Shohei? Too bad we only have Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman coming up.
I mean, was the doomer
on what
in you?
Planet?
Was the doomer in you not
game over?
Looking at Ohtani on deck and going, yeah, I know how this story ends.
Game over, period. And you know, Wandy is a ground ball guy. I still think you walk Shohei Ohtani there and try to get the grounder out of Mookie. So, at worst case scenario, Dave, you're going to have an out, maybe, right? Maybe. You never know. Ball gets away, whatever. Solano's not a true first baseman. You make Manny make a perfect throw. You move those guys over. You let them walk Shohei Ohtani, and then you take your chances with Mookie Betts.
But by giving up an out, you can't tie the game without a hit still.
Right.
Even a sacrifice fly, you're only within one. Then there's 2 outs.
But you have
great players coming up. But I can see once Manny's pinched in, like, okay, we can win it right here. I mean, they were good. Their defense is not in great position to, for even a hard hit grounder, we may win the game right here.
Manny and Xander. Xander was a wheel play, so Manny charges. Xander was going to cover third. You know Manny was going to try to get him at third. You know he was going to try to get the lead runner and keep the double play intact. But still, I think if you're Dave Roberts and if your first instinct is to put the bunt on to move those guys over into scoring position, you take your chances. You really do. So I'm amazed. Dodger fans are livid this morning, and I think as they should be. But if you're going to get mad at somebody, you can't. I don't think you can get mad at. I don't think you can get mad at Landon Knack. I think the people that you have to be the most upset about are your 2 and 3 hitters who continue to falter in big games. Knock on wood that they keep that rolling.
Let's get to the other calls of the triple play because I think that's what a lot of people are definitely wanting to hear this morning. You just heard Jesse's an all-timer. Let's go back to Padres.tv with Don Orsillo's call of the triple play.
Rojas on the ground to third. Machado touches third, fires to second. Out at first. Oh my goodness! It's a triple play. It ends the ball game. The San Diego Padres have clinched their spot in the postseason after a magical 2024 campaign. Will this finally be the year for the faithful?
Oh, I got goosebumps.
I mean,
I thought the "oh my goodness" was a really nice, natural touch. Like, truly, he was surprised by that happening.
Out at first. Oh my goodness!
We'll be hearing that in the Tournament of Drops next spring.
Oh my goodness!
Oh yeah.
Let's go into the Dodgers call. Joe Davis, Dodgers television last night.
Smoke to third. Machado steps on the bag. They go all the way around and turn a triple play to end the game. Impossible.
Could we play that?
Incredible. And it's down to 2 in the National League West.
Do you have the one I sent you before?
Yes.
Yes. Did you hear the lead up to it was by far my favorite part of the night.
Joe Nostradamus over here.
And at this point, it's not a question of will Ohtani get a chance. It's what's going to be on his plate when he gets up there.
Nothing's on his plate, Joe. Not one thing.
Joe did not consider the possibility of the triple play.
Just vomiting all over the
Impossible.
It's impossible.
All right, let's go to Eduardo.
Incredible. Impossible.
They were sad at that moment.
Good.
Let's go back to Padres Spanish language broadcaster Eduardo Ortega. And the triple play.
Segunda, lanzamiento, rola por tercera, Machado toma, pisa, 1 a segunda, 2 a primera. ¡Triple play! ¡Se acabó el juego! ¡Qué cierre! ¡Peliculesco! Los Padres están en playoff con 3 outs en la novena. Jugada apretada. Los Dodgers van a retar la situación.
Amazing.
He's the best.
Triple play!
¡Triple play!
Just amazing.
The universal baseball is the universal language.
And finally, gentlemen, I'm very concerned.
Flabbergasted,
I'm worried.
actually.
Yeah, what happened?
Are our friends okay? Was this too much for them?
I honestly thought they might still be talking this morning. Like the call might not be over by the time we were on the air, still screaming their heads off.
Is
9 hours
they
later,
blew a fuse because our friends.
Is it possible they were like playing a game on their phone and didn't really grasp the weight of the moment?
I don't know. Here, for example, let's go back. Here's Luis Arraez walk-off back in May.
2루가 됐습니다. 그리고 루이스 아라에스 세트 쪽에 떨어지는 홈으로 미끄러집니다.
That's what we have come to expect from our friends over on the Korean broadcast. And when I heard the call from yesterday, I thought, oh no, I hope they're okay. Because, well, here it is. Triple play last night.
강공으로 땅볼 3루 찍고 2루 갑니다. 그리고 1루까지 1루에서 아웃이에요.
자, 2루.
자, 2루에서 아웃인가요? 아웃이에요. 트리플 플레이.
어떻게 이런 판단을 하죠?
말도 안 되는 엔딩이 나왔습니다. 트리플 플레이로 경기 종료.
저는 이거 제가 마차도였으면 1루로 던졌어요.
Yeah, it was like very understated. It would basically be like,
did they know the Padres clinched a playoff spot?
I don't know. It was just, let's do it. Let's translate to English. Like ground ball down to third. Machado picks it up, steps on third, throws to Cronenworth at second, and on to Solano at first for a triple play.
And the ball game is over.
Ball game is
the
over.
Padres win it 4-2. Thanks for joining us on tonight's Korean broadcast of the Padres-Dodgers game. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody.
So long, everybody. It's your old pals, Ben and Woods. I mean, really, it was the most understated
Bobby
call.
says they sound depressed.
It was like depressed.
Maybe they were looking forward to
Ohtani,
something else that was going to happen.
Maybe seeing Ohtani come up and hit.
I have no idea. Eric says they were just shocked, like in disbelief. They couldn't believe what they were seeing.
I couldn't either. I didn't yell or anything.
I was expecting the color commentator to like just absolutely lose his mind.
I couldn't react. I was reactionless. I just stared, mouth agape.
All right, we have the rest of the game to talk about before the triple play. We'll get to that and take on Woods coming up next here on 97.3 The Fan.
1 year soon, the baseball gods will smile on the San Diego Padres, and we will have a parade.
Getting closer for sure. The late, great Peter Seidler. Words that we hope will be prophetic here in 2024. And yesterday was a big step forward as the Padres clinch a playoff berth in the 2024 postseason. It could have gone south in the first inning. I mean, it could have quickly gone really, really bad after the Xander Bogaerts throwing error led to 1 run, an unearned run, and a lot of pitches on the arm of Michael King in that first inning. Great job by King and the Padres working out of that jam and not allowing any more runs and keeping it a 1-run game. And then, of course, Jake responding in the top of the second inning with, as Paulie mentioned, he had not even driven in a run in September. A guy who was the Padres' RBI leader early in the season had not even driven in a single run in September and not homered in more than a month, I believe. Picked a really good time to finally get one, put the Padres ahead, settle, I think, everyone down just a little bit. Padres looked very comfortable after that as they continued on. But, you know, as good as King was, got some great defense behind him. Jurickson Profar made 2 phenomenal catches in that game. And then Xander Bogaerts came back and redeemed himself with a clutch RBI single in the 4th inning.
Just huge.
Jake adding an RBI double, more 2-out rallies for the Padres as they took that 4-1 lead, got Landon Knack out of the game after just 4 innings. King ended up going 5, 3 hits, 1 unearned run, 2 walks, just 3 strikeouts for Michael King, but he did hit his 200th career strikeout, and it was a big one. It was the one to get Mookie Betts with the bases loaded in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Another chance for the Dodgers to do some real damage, and got him on a bad check swing to end that inning, and ended up getting his 13th win of the season. And then he went to that bullpen, the revamped Padres bullpen yesterday, Woods, getting the job done. Started with Adrian Morejon coming out first with some lefties coming up. He got the opportunity in the top of the 6th after getting 2 outs. He gave up a single and then a walk to Will Smith. Jeremiah Estrada was called on to face Tommy Edman. Got 1 pitch pop up, so imagine he'll still be fresh for tomorrow, or today now. Then Tanner Scott was called on in the 7th, specifically because Shohei Ohtani, I think, was hitting 3rd that inning, and boy, did he overmatch Ohtani in that at-bat. Finishing him off with a 99-mile-an-hour pitch right under his hands.
Nasty,
that
dude.
He had no chance at, and got the strikeout to end that inning.
Was so filthy.
Nasty.
Really exciting.
No one was on then, right?
No one was
Scott,
on.
Yeah,
1, 2, 3 inning for Scott.
That was in the 7th.
Yeah, Jason Adam pitched the 8th. Got some help from Jurickson on a great catch. Then gave up a 2-out double to Teoscar Hernandez, but did get out of that inning on a Max Muncy, I believe, fly ball to left field to get the Padres to the 9th.
Was that the other Profar amazing catch?
That was the other Profar amazing catch, yeah. 2 diving catches in the game. So get to the bottom of the 9th, and Robert Suarez comes in. And we talked a little bit about it in the lead-up to the triple play, but gives up a hard ground ball single to start the inning by Will Smith. Then a 2-strike hard ground ball single by Tommy Edman. And then a broken bat single to Kike Hernandez to bring in a run and bring the winning run to the plate with nobody out to start that inning. And I can see it both ways. You can certainly absolutely interpret it as the continuation of Robert Suarez's struggles. I can also say he got 2 ground balls and a broken bat, and, a lot of times that's a 1, 2, 3 inning, and we're not talking about it at all today. We're saying, good job, Robert. Got 2 ground balls and a broken bat out, and you got out of that, but because they hit it where they ain't, all of a sudden it's still a problem. How do you view Robert Suarez now in light of what happened last night?
Man, again, it's been the question we've been talking about every single day, and from your closer, you're going to need more swing and miss. You need some whiff.
He did get swings and misses, and I think all the at-bats, just not for the third strike.
Yeah, we talked yesterday, and Kevin Acee put in his piece, the usage of the changeup, the sinker. Again, for me, I'm like, all right, maybe just up the usage, right? Mix it up a little bit, throw it a little bit earlier in counts, try to get guys to feebly roll over. But I think hitters know, Benny, when he gets in trouble and when they're in favorable counts, they know what they're going to get, and they squared a couple up. So, but
the fastball does seem, while it's still 100,
it just seems a little bit lifeless.
It seems a little straighter than it was earlier in the season.
It does. But, again, I look at how that game was managed. He was set up. He was set up for success by having the bottom of the order come up. And you had Tanner Scott there to get Ohtani out. You don't want a rally going. I thought the bullpen, which was managed perfectly last night. Perfectly. I mean, I don't think you could have managed it any better from Mike Shildt. I don't know that you put Robert Suarez in the 7th and Tanner Scott in the 9th. I just don't. I think they're going to play matchups. I think last night, and I know it was played by the book as we've seen it, but maybe that was the first time they were really trying to play matchups there and get favorable matchups, and they did.
It's a good point. Let's picture an alternate universe in which they're saving Tanner Scott for the 9th inning. Which inning did you want Robert Suarez to pitch? Because he's coming in.
Right.
Is it the 7th when Ohtani is up? Was it the 8th with Betts and Freeman starting that inning against Jason Adam? I don't know. I mean, I think they used Robert Suarez in the right spot in that game.
I do too. And like I said, maybe this is now tonight. If the exact same situation presents itself, and let's talk about the 7th inning, but it's the bottom of the order coming up in the 7th, I don't think you use Tanner Scott. Maybe you go back to Suarez there, and then maybe you use Scott in the 9th or the 8th, because if the bottom's in the 7th, that means the top's coming in the 8th, and that's Ohtani and that's Freeman with Betts sandwiched in between. Maybe that's where you use Tanner Scott. Maybe you use Adam in the 9th. Maybe you use Estrada in the 9th if you have a 3-run lead. So, look, the options are there. We're going to have to continue to give Mike Shildt the benefit of the doubt to play those matchups, but I really think last night was a good example of how to use them. I know that they've asked Adam Suarez. Damn it.
Adam Scott.
But it was Scott, Adam Suarez.
But yesterday was a little sassy.
So that to me kind of tells me that, hey, maybe they're mixing it up a little bit, playing a little bit more matchup. So I like the options in the bullpen. I'm not too worried about it right now, but yeah, it was a little dicey when those first couple guys get on. And again, he used his defense. His defense picked him up. Game's over. You get the save, and gave everybody a little bit of a heart attack.
Well, it turned out to work out perfectly thanks to that Manny Machado turning the triple play. So we decided we want to hear from Manny in the locker room in the clubhouse last night. So we're going to postpone Take on Woods. We're going to do it, I think, at our 9 o'clock hour. Woods also has a television hit coming up in a couple of minutes.
Thanks for reminding me.
We are exactly. So we are going to throw it back to the Tony Gwynn locker room interview with Manny Machado after the game and let Woods get set up for his TV hit this morning. But here's Manny with Tony Gwynn Jr. on 97.3 The Fan last night.
I'm with third baseman Manny Machado. Manny, let's start with that triple play. You coming in on the bunt, you readjust. It seemed like at the last minute when it was hit to you, you didn't even hesitate. Was that on your mind?
Honestly, no, it was not. It was not. I thought he was going to bunt again. He surprised me with it. So I kind of just stayed back, and my first instinct is once it's hit at me, it was hit in the perfect spot. Touch third, throw to second, see what happens. Triple play's hard, man. It's hard.
Once you got it to second, did you know it was on
That's it. The guy to get was at second base. He hit it hard. He hit it probably 1-0 something off the bat. I mean, right at me, he had no reaction time. So tag first, tag third, throw to second, and then I trust Cronenworth enough to make that play and throw to first.
Listen, it's been all of you guys, but starting in June, you turned it up another dial and really rode that all the way to this point. Just talk about turning it up.
Saranye! Hey!
Ah-Sung Kim is on the phone right now.
Saranye, we love you, baby. We'll see you next week, baby. You coming for us. You gonna celebrate with us too, baby.
You wrote, this team kind of rode you all the way to this point. Just talk about raising your level from June to this point to get this team here.
I mean, Honestly, I mean, it's give credit to the coaching staff, training staff, getting me healthy. Coming from an injury is not easy, and they push me every single day to be better. And at the end of the day, they told me, hey, we're gonna get to where we want to get to, but you got to be healthy. You got to be out there playing every single day, and you got to perform at the highest level. And they just push me every single day, man. I mean, training staff, coaching staff making me be better defensively. Our hitting coaches making me better with Vic, making me better. Berkey making me better offensively. Trying to stick with a good routine, trying to see what works for you, and just writing it out, man. I mean, it's been fun, and I got to give credit to this group, man. This group has been fun all year, going out there and battling with them and competing. I mean, we could do everything we want.
Let's talk about this group a little bit.
We could do everything we want in the cage, out on the field, but 7 o'clock hits, 6:40 hits. It's about competing. It's about competing, and they taught me how it's just forget everything. You might not have your best game out there, you might not be feeling your best, but you can go out there and compete with the best of us, and this whole group has done that all year, and that's why we are where we are right now, and we're not done. We're not done. I think this group has bigger vision, and we're not going to stop. We're going to continue to compete, and we're going to celebrate tonight, enjoy this night, but tomorrow's back to business. We got stuff to handle.
You're finishing up your 6th year as a Padre. I would imagine this is one of the more complete teams you've ever been a part of.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, just top to down, guys that are not here right now that helped us tremendously throughout the year. I mean, 1 through 40 on that roster, man. They've helped us out tremendously, and we're not here without any of those 40 guys.
Skipper Mike Shields said that he has no worries about you guys being able to turn the page tomorrow, because as you mentioned, there's some unchecked boxes out there for you guys to still
it's
check.
For us, except the beer showers. But it's normal. We celebrate every win. It's a beautiful thing to win a game in the big leagues. It's not easy. And we celebrate the game. We enjoy today, and that's been the resilience of this team. We turn the page every single night, and once 7 o'clock hits tomorrow, we're going to be ready to compete and go out there and win. We've done it all year. We're going to continue to do it. Today is just a different day. With a little bit of beer, a little bit of champagne, but we're going to be ready.
Enjoy the rest of the night.
That's so good.
Manny Machado with Tony Gwynn Jr. in the clubhouse last night. He didn't do it. I think he did it on television, and we brought it up, I think, off the air. But Manny made the point when he was talking after the game to talk about some of the guys who weren't there. Obviously, Ha-Seong Kim, who is rehabbing in Arizona. They're going to see him in a couple of days. Brought him in on FaceTime, but he mentioned Randy Vasquez, Matt Waldron, Johnny Brito.
Yep.
Guys who aren't currently on the 26-man roster, but played a role in getting the team to 91 wins and the postseason. Something, a captain does that, acknowledges the whole team. And Manny did that last night after the game.
Yeah, it's spectacular. Spectacular stuff. All right, I'm going to
go. All right, Woodsy's going to go do his TV hit. We're going to take a timeout. You know what? We just postponed take on Woods. Let's postpone Don't Do This as well. I want to keep talking about the Padres. In fact, I want to hear if Padre fans, anyone at the game last night, and I would love to know what the atmosphere was like walking out of Dodger Stadium. 833-288-0973. I saw from that center field ballpark cam, Paulie.
Yes, I saw that.
The triple play was turned, and usually, Dodger fans are faster than anyone and streaming to the exits. And they were all frozen. They could not believe the game was over.
Stunned.
I saw one person walking up oh, I guess it's over. But they were stunned. The game can't be over. We had nobody out. The game's not over.
Oh, they're going to challenge it. Maybe we'll, we'll get a break.
They were
nope, you didn't.
They were stunned into immobility at the game last night, and there were Padres fans who were celebrating. Give us a call, 833-288-0973. Adam Jones with us on a Big League Wednesday at the bottom of the hour as well. So we're just going to keep the Padres celebration talk rolling here with Ben Woods after a check of Kelly's traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
Woodsy's still waiting. You know how television works. They get you online, and then they make you wait forever for your TV hit. So he'll be back in studio in just a second.
7:15's not 7:15 in TV time.
Yeah, and we're going to skip Don't Do This today because I wanted to get out to the phone lines and hear from some Padres fans, especially anyone who was at Dodger Stadium last night. If you were, 833-288-0973. I will throw in, just because we normally do it here and Don't Do This, the Pittsburgh Pirates DFAing Rowdy Tellez 4 at-bats away from a $200,000 bonus for plate appearances, and then saying it had nothing to do with that is insulting.
You poverty-ass franchise.
If it didn't have anything to do with it, it should have had something to do with it. You should have let him. You have nothing to play for. That is simply classless by the Pittsburgh Pirates doing that. He's a fan favorite. There was no reason you needed to do that. Your season is going nowhere. The only reason you do that there is to save $200,000 for a cheap owner. Be better, Pittsburgh Pirates. That was insulting yesterday. All right, that was Don't Do This. Now let's get out to the phones. Let's go to Lou, top of our board. Good morning. Welcome to Ben & Woods on 97.3 The Fan. How are you, Lou?
Oh, what a great time to be alive, guys. I'm
Certainly
telling you, I went to that game with 35 years friendship with a guy, he's a Dodger fan, and we started when all we had was Motorola pagers for the baseball games and just trash talking each other on the phone. And so he drove all the way down from Vegas. I came up from Lucadia, and I'm telling you, it was just so wonderful getting 4-1. And then Suarez comes up, and, you know, you can't curse at a ball game, but it was like, oh my God, this is terrible. And then, you know, they had got the run, they're on second and first. And I just leaned over to him. I says, a double play would be really good right now. A triple play would be even better. And one pitch later, kaboom! It was like, and the Dodgers were stunned, but they were holding out hope for that replay. And then when they showed it on the big screen, it was like that was it. They were just totally stunned. And it was just a wonderful feeling to see him do that.
I love that, Lou. I'm glad you got to go to the game. It's an interesting dynamic to go with a buddy who's a fan of the other team.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
you're a better man than me, Lou.
Well, to me, that is you're setting yourself up one way or the other, because if your team wins, there's no better feeling getting to hold it over your buddy. You went to the whole game, and at the end, you walk out happy. He walks out miserable. But of course, your team loses, it's the exact opposite, and you just invested the last 3 hours, and now he's overjoyed, and you're miserable at the end of the game.
I don't know that the joy outweighs the 2 to 3 hours of just anxiety and tension.
It tests a friendship. If your friendship can survive cheering for rivals on the opposite side, then you've got a pretty good friendship there. Lou, thanks for the call. Let's go to Tim. You're next up here on 97.3 The Fan. Tim, welcome to Ben and Woods.
Good morning, gentlemen. What a day to be a Padre fan. I went up to the game last night. I sent Paul a picture of my seats. I was literally 21 rows up from third base watching Manny turn that triple play. But it is amazing what happened. On my way to drop my kids at St. Francis, where they go to school right now, my 6-year-old, my 3-year-old, and with up above as my witness, I said to myself, Peter is not going to let them lose. And sure enough, man, when they turned that triple play, I went nuts. I went nuts. But I'm going to tell you something else that really shocked me. After Ohtani batted in the 7th, 20 to 25% of the Dodger fans left the stadium.
It's not that surprising.
They knew he wasn't coming back up.
How many Padres fans would you say were there last night, Tim, like percentage-wise, or just what you saw from your vantage point?
A handful. At the end of the game, when they all most of them moved towards the seats behind the behind the Padres dugout, I was surprised how minimal it was. But there's always that fear factor of going to Dodger Stadium. I mean, we all know and remember the incident 11 or 12 years ago when the Giants and Dodgers played there. But there's always a little bit of. I took my son and his friend. My son's a trainer. He trains a baseball player at Palomar, and I told him, I said, don't wear any Padre gear, please.
Sad that you have to feel not safe for your personal security when you go up to those games, but there's plenty of reason to not sometimes feel safe when you go up to Dodger Stadium. Hopefully all the Padres fans made it out okay last night. But, Tim, thank you for the call. Thank you for sharing your experience of being at the game last night. 833-288-0973. Now, I'm just looking up. The Padres now magic number to clinch at least a home playoff series, which would be the number 4 seed, is down to 2, according to playoffstatus.com. So that theoretically they could do that today. I think they need both a win and losses by the Mets and the Diamondbacks. If I'm not mistaken. I've been mistaken a couple of times with these complex
It's been very difficult
playoff
to
clinching scenarios this year with all the tiebreakers involved, but they say it's 2. So there's a possibility. 2 wins definitely gets it done. I can tell you that. 2 more wins in the last 5 games, and they would definitely host postseason. They're certainly on track to have home playoff series, so you won't have to worry about road games in the first round. Oh, and, of course, if the Padres keep winning, their magic number to clinch, actually the 2 seed is 5, which means, if they win their last 5 games, they clinch the 2nd seed and a bye in the first round and the National League West title, which would mean at least 2 home games in the NLDS, games 1 and 2, and then game 5, if necessary, would also be at Petco Park in that eventuality. So there's lots to play for over these last 5 games of the season, and the Padres have given themselves an opportunity to do that. Woods is still out on television, so let's keep going. Let's go with Mike. You are next up here on 97.3 The Fan. Good morning, Mike.
Hi there.
Hi, you're on the air.
Hey, happened to Yuki?
Good question.
He's still on the team. They have not used him, I want to say, in about a week and a half at least, the last time he appeared in a game. I think it's I don't think he's being like punished or benched. It simply is the Padres have played a lot of close games. They've had some days off, which means the bullpen has.
It's September 7th.
Yeah, so a week and a half, 2 weeks now, more than 2 weeks since Yuki Matsui has gotten in a game. But they've played, they've had off days. The bullpen, fairly rested, and they're in close games. So they're using their highest leverage guys. I mean, they need to win these games, and Yuki Matsui is not someone that Mike Schilt and Ruben Niebla are going to trust in a game with they're up by 1 or 2 or down by 1 or 2 at this point. He may very well pitch for the San Diego Padres even in the postseason at some point, but I would imagine it would come in a game where they're down 3 or 4. They're trying to they're not punting on any game in the playoffs, of course, but and Yuki has an ERA still in the 3s, I believe, at this point. He gives up too many home runs. He's walked too many guys. You don't want to put yourself in those situations at this time of the year. So that's where it is. I expect him. He'll be back with the Padres next season, hopefully with as we've seen with a lot of players who come over from Asia, the longer they've been here, adjusting to the culture, the game, usually get better. I mean, Yuki Matsui could be an important part of the Padres bullpen next year. I just don't see necessarily much of a role for him going forward the rest of this season, Paulie.
It's too important right now to deviate from what is going to work, or what you at least believe is going to get you the win.
When you look at the playoff bullpen for the Padres, we know who the high leverage guys are. We saw all of them except for Hoeing. I will throw in there as well last night. But A.J. Cassavell made a really good point in his little newsletter that when you get to the postseason, Martin Perez actually has big-time value because there's no Manfred man, free runner, and extra innings. There could be playoff games that go 13, 14 innings, and you need a guy who's stretched out to maybe go 4 or 5 innings at that point. And Martin Perez would be the perfect guy in that scenario where, hey, we're tied. We've used all of our high leverage guys getting to the 10th inning. Now we need someone who can chew up, throw up some zeros, which Perez can do, and chew up 4 and 5 innings. If this goes 13 or 14, he might be the guy you're ticketing for extra innings in the playoffs. So we'll talk about it as the week goes on. But the playoff construction of the Padres bullpen is going to be very interesting. All right, he is reemerging from his long hit. You're still up there on television behind you if you want to see what you look like. I don't. You don't?
I really don't.
How'd it go?
It was good. Easy.
Good?
Yeah, piece of cake.
Nice. All right, we've got Adam Jones coming up in our next segment.
Okay, good.
You've come back just in time for a little timeout, and then we will be back with Adam Jones on a Big League Wednesday, talking about his friend Manny Machado's triple play and more next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. All right, Woods, you got an interesting question you want to ask Adam Jones
Yeah,
here.
a practical question, if you will.
Yeah, that's true. Very relevant to the San Diego Padres. We will talk to Adam Jones on a Big League Wednesday. He is standing by. Let's just get a quick check of traffic here with Kelly on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change, your trusted instant drive-thru oil change. A couple of collisions here, one on northbound 805 at Plaza Boulevard. Looks like that has been moved into the center divide. And Cordell traffic cam shows a collision in the center divide on southbound 125 before Otay Lakes Road. Stop by any of the 30 San Diego Valvoline Instant Oil Change Centers. You don't have to get out of your car. Usually only takes 15 minutes or less. Plus, get a free courtesy check of your tires and battery. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for directions and discounts. SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Well, his hometown San Diego Padres are headed to the playoffs, and it happened with his good friend Manny Machado turning a triple play last night. And we are joined, as we are each and every Big League Wednesday, by five-time All-Star Adam Jones. And I saw you tweeting about it. I mean, what an unbelievable ending to that game. Unbelievable.
Come on, bro.
Usually you get a pop-up or a ground ball or a fly-out. I mean, the triple play, which is a very uncommon play, you get a triple play at this time, and it is just, wow. I mean, I don't think anybody expected that, but it's the awareness of this young man, Machado, to, again, most people are probably going to go straight to second on that play, but to know that, you know what, let the ball come to me, I'm going to go back and start this triple play. That I tweeted out about him. His awareness is, like you said, he doesn't make the wrong play and the wrong decision often.
The IQ, man.
It's like his IQ is incredibly high.
It's so honestly, man, like, how does one get that? You know, I legitimately feel like
especially as early as he had it in his career.
Dude, no question, Adam. And you saw it and you can speak to it early. Like you said, your execution may not always be there, right? But the idea to make the play, I will never, ever be mad if you think you can get an out because you've earned that right because you've made the play so many times. But, like, how does one acquire baseball IQ of that, of that magnitude?
Well, I mean, his first games in the big leagues were pressure games. He didn't come to the big leagues with like, hey, here's a couple of 100 at bats. Let's see what you got, kid. No, he got called up, and we were like, hey, let's go. Like, and he took it on himself to put himself in that position. I mean, from day one in the major leagues, I remember August 6th, that he's been just astute to the game. I mean, he had a great shortstop in J.J. Hardy right next to him who was able to explain a lot of different things to him, scenarios and all different things. He had great coaches with Bobby Dickerson.
Yeah.
And just awareness. And again, it's a former individual. Like, again, we all had those same coaches, but why is he different? Why has he set himself apart? Obviously, the talent is there, but his knowledge of what to do on both sides of the ball is incredible. And, again, we like I said months ago, we need to watch certain athletes, and we need to really idolize them. He's one of them. Again, there's a few of them right now in baseball and throughout sports that we need to sit back and idolize instead of nitpicking everything. And he's one of them. And again, it's great that he's representing my hometown.
He is just like you said, and that's going to stick with me for a while. Talking to Adam Jones here on Ben and Woods. The decision is always right. It really is. And the decision to charge a ball, the decision to barehand a ball, the decision to know exactly when I got to let it go to get that guy by a half step. I've seen it too many times to think that it's some fluke or he's lucky. I've just seen it too many times since he's been here. But I have a practical question for you, my friend. So, listen. We all talked about it. We said, yeah, celebrate, go out, get after it. You proved a lot of doubters wrong. You made the playoffs this year. I was a doubter. I didn't think they would make it. They did. I'm so happy. Never been so happy to be wrong in my life, AJ.
That's a good wrong.
But, dude, how do you go out and play after a celebration like that today? Like, what's the method after sucking down? God only knows. I mean, Budweiser's and champagne will get you every time. So you got to get up. What's the move for you when you celebrated like that?
Well, the kicker is that they can still hypothetically win the division. Correct?
Yeah, they just got to win these next two, and then they're in first place.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like instead of the 10 beers, it's probably 6. And we got to get back after it. Usually when you clinch, if you look at the lineup the next day, it's like, who in Sam hell is on this roster? I didn't know all these guys.
I didn't even know this guy was on the team.
But he's like, this guy's dead.
Cross him off then.
So, it's not the 40-man roster like it used to be. So I think with the division still intact, there's still a possibility. It's similar with the Orioles. It's like, again, will the Dodgers and the Yankees clinch the division? I think so. But do you want them to clinch it on your face?
Right.
That's the hell no. And so I think that, again, instead of the 10 beers, you get 5 or 6, and then you'd be like, okay, look, instead of 3 a.m., it's going to be a 1 a.m. night, and we got to get back after it because, look, I'm not trying to have them clinching my face. Now, if we go to Arizona and, we have our spot and then they clinch against the Rockies or, against another team, then cool, but not in our face. That's what you don't want.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised, and I don't know if this happened when you were a player, but if the training staff would have little fluid IVs ready for them,
oh yeah,
when they come in, just to make sure everybody's kind of back and hydrated and feeling good. Did you ever do anything like that before a game?
No,
okay.
Because I was responsible.
Right. Oh, look at you!
Look at you!
At all times.
You saved it all for after your career. We know.
Yeah, get your Pedialyte, a burrito.
I make sure I got my Pedialyte in my locker. It's crazy. Pedialyte is one of the top drinks in the clubhouse.
I'm not surprised.
Because we just know the electrolytes in that is incredible. Again, if it's good for a baby, it's good for us.
That's exactly right, man. Yeah, nobody was. It's not like they were passing around bottles of bourbon last night. You know what I mean? Like I know that they know that they've got the task is at hand. And Dylan Cease, is going to get the best lineup behind him. He's going to get the best defense behind him. They're going to have the same lineup out there. It's not going to be, you're not going to see Brandon Lockridge getting a start for Profar tonight. I mean, they know that there's work to be done, and it is still in reach. And man, just making those Dodgers sweat like that is pretty great.
That's what I want to ask. Like, how tight do you think the Dodgers could be getting? Because they had 3 games essentially to pretty much wrap it up. Now they have 2. They know if they lose this one, they could lose control of everything tomorrow. I've got to imagine they're getting a little tight in that Dodgers clubhouse, Adam.
I mean, with them, I think that sometimes it might be better for them to play on the road. I mean, I don't think the Dodgers feel pressure. We can hypothetically speak for them, but that roster, that experience with Mookie spearheading that team, he's a 2-time champ, 2-time MVP. So I think when it comes to them, their temperament for me is always lax and cool.
Respectfully disagree. Have you seen him in the playoffs in the last few
That's
seasons?
what I'm saying, but I'm talking about right now.
All right,
but when it comes to in the playoffs, again, this is the first time Ohtani's getting to the playoffs. Yeah.
But this is also the first time they've ever had to play meaningful games in September, other than the year when the Giants kind of pushed them for a division title. But this is a little different for them in September.
But this might be the kick in the rear that they probably need to going forward.
Yeah.
Because again, like you said, they haven't played meaningful games in September in the last few years, so they've been just comfortable strolling into the playoffs with their bib and their champagne. Right now, they're going to be coming there with some Miller High Lifes, and people are going to be coming after them. So I think it might be a good. Hopefully, it's not, because obviously, I went to Padres Orioles World Series, but it might be the kick in the pants that they need to get, like, going forward, which they haven't had because they've always been coasting into the playoffs. When other teams have grinded to get there, like last year when the Diamondbacks came there, I don't think anybody expected the Diamondbacks to just go and steamroll the Dodgers. I mean, they beat the crap out of them. Not just won the game, like they obliterated them in those 3 games. And, maybe the Dodgers need that other mentality of like, oh, we just got in, so we got to get after it, opposed to, hey, everybody, welcome to Dodger Stadium. Come in and get yourself a nice elote and enjoy yourself, and then get waxed. So maybe this is a kick in the pants they need.
I hope it's not.
Yeah, sobering
certainly.
thought that this is exactly what the Dodgers needed.
Yeah. I mean, I would expect them, as I do every time you play them. I mean, they had the Pods on the ropes last night, first inning, and they couldn't capitalize. Bad base running. Great plays, though. I mean, great plays by Cronenworth. Picking up Xander after that error. I mean, hey, that's also a 2-time champ over there. And first ground ball he gets, he boots. I was like, you got to be kidding me, man. You see the pressure ratcheted up. I can't even imagine what it's like to manage a game like that, but much less. Managing, I think, would be worse than playing in it, because you're playing and you kind of forget, and you're like, by the 3rd inning, I'm sure you're like, all right, this is another ball game. Then it probably gets real tight late. But if you're a manager in a game like this, I get nervous. I was on the toilet before my kid's Pinto game last week. I was a wreck, man.
But that's the whole part of the mystique of sports. You want that.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a privilege.
So many people can't handle that situation. That's why there's very few people that play professional sports.
That's
There's
right.
Very few people that are managers. So the manager, I'm telling you, Shield wants that moment.
Yeah, big time.
Roberts wants that moment. Like every manager, every player, they want that. They really do want that bottom of the ninth to a full count moment, because that's what, as a kid, that's what I think everybody dreamed that in their backyard. Oh, full count, bases loaded, bottom of the ninth, you got 1 pitch to go. I think everybody has always wanted that situation. And now, I mean, you get on the biggest stage, I'm telling you, there's nothing better than playing at the top level. Like, obviously, I mean, it's the best. But for those situations, like last night, you're 1 pitch away from tying the game up. You're also 1 pitch away from getting out of it and getting a triple play, which is a rarity. Most people just get a double play or just a fielder's choice. The game is weird, and it's not for everybody. That's why not everybody does it. And I'm telling you, Shilton wants that moment. Manny wants that moment. Bogarts wants that moment. Arise wants that moment. He got to play in the playoffs last year for the first time. Now he's back in it. Like, these guys want this moment, and it's poetry. You know what I mean? Because
it's beautiful.
not everybody's gonna have the swan song, but if you're in the dance, hey, it all makes it worth it.
Talking to Adam Jones on a Big League Wednesday, and I should definitely mention that the Baltimore Orioles clinched a playoff spot yesterday with the 5-3 win over the Yankees. Probably not going to catch the Yankees in the last few days of the division, but a really good shot that they're going to have home baseball at Camden Yards in the wild card round. Your thoughts as an Orioles legend on Baltimore heading back to the playoffs?
I mean, it's obviously a great year that they're having. The second half has been a struggle for them a little bit, which – again, is part of the game, which especially having a younger roster. And it's great. I think they are understanding that it's a very, very long season. It's a grind. And I think they're going to be poised to make a strong run. I mean, if you got Burns, Eflin, Kramer lined up for 1, 2, 3. I think that's a really, really strong lineup to have to go to in Camden Yards. I think they're in a good position organizationally, fan base wise, and it's obviously being there and seeing it in person. It's been really, really special to see Camden Yards filled up. Attendance rose there at 17%. That is amazing. So I'm ecstatic for them. Again, if I had it my way, it'd be Orioles versus Padres in the World Series, where I can't lose.
You can't lose.
I think the stunner is that in the wild card, I think they're going to get the Tigers. AJ, a team that no one even thought was even a playoff contender. Now I think they're going to be the 5 seed, and they're going to play the Orioles in that wild card round, which is pretty nuts. I mean, they're the hottest team in the American League right now.
Crazy, man.
And they pitched. Their bullpen has been great. Skubal has been great. I mean, they just called up the young kid Job. They've been a scrappy team, very scrappy team. Obviously, their biggest decision is going to be what to do with Baez this offseason. I don't think he's probably ever going to play in that uniform again. But they're good, and they play the game right. I know the Royals have been struggling, but again, if they get lightning in the bottle in the last few games, you can see what happens. The Twins have been struggling. That's the beauty of it. Like it's a long season, and you can see when the stress comes out. You can see when players are trying to get the 4 for 4 rather than just play the game, because these games mean something. And this is the first time that these guys are, put on this stage. You got a lot of guys hitting in the middle of the lineup now that are 22 years old when – go back 10, 15 years ago, a 22-year-old is hitting like 12. Like, come on, you're not even sniffing the lineup here.
Yeah.
But it's a different pressure that these guys are after, and these guys are taking advantage of it. And it's fun to watch It's fun to watch teams like the Tigers because I think everybody, including myself, was like, hey, you're probably not going to be in this situation in the playoffs soon. Trade Skubal, get like 5 guys.
We all said it. We all said it.
We all said that.
We all said it.
And they were like, nah, we're good. And hey, we're all biting our lip, and that's why I guess we're all employed, right?
That's right. That's why we're sitting here, my friend. Thank you so much, man. You're in town. Are you? You're in town right now. I don't think we can play golf, but
we got the round table tomorrow.
Oh God, you can come do the round table with us if you want.
Yeah.
From 10 to 11.
I'm playing Coronado. Somebody just called me out.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Say hi to Tier 1. Oh, why can't I think of his name? The pro there.
Ben's trying to get some free golf.
No.
Yeah, get a free shout out.
I played with him at the GOAT. I've lost the plot here, but he's the head pro.
Say hi to him for us.
Thanks. If you can just say hi to him, Adam, that'd be great.
Thanks, buddy.
Why I'm dying that I can't think of his name.
Hit him straight, man. It's windy.
Have a good round
out
there. Beautiful course. Anytime you can get on at Coronado is gorgeous. Thank you, Adam.
Hey, as always.
Thank you, pal.
Brian Smock. Oh God. Oh
my God. What is it? Brett?
Brian Smock.
Brian Smock.
Yeah.
Oh, Brian.
Yeah, Brian. Took me like 30 seconds to come up with
You're
that.
all right. It's no big deal.
I thought of it.
It's live radio. It's no big deal.
We got a lot of things in our minds here right now, including a guest coming up in studio. Big League Wednesday. One big leaguer to another.
Yeah, buddy.
They never played against each other. Adam, I think, started his big league career. Did they? I don't know. When did Adam start his big league? Did you ever face Adam Jones? Bret Boone's?
Jones.
Yeah.
He was.
Let's get this microphone on here.
Got to talk into it.
He got drafted. That's when I met Adam. I met him, an 18-year-old Adam Jones.
His first year with the Mariners was 2006, and your last year was 2005. So you just ships passing in the night in their big league
careers. He got
careers.
drafted, and he came out and worked out with the ball club before he signed as a young pup. And then I got to watch Adam's career.
A great career.
Hell of a career.
Yep. Brett Boone's in studio.
Yeah,
If
you can hear that. If you didn't glean that information, we've got him in studio, and he's going to be here for our next hour. We got plenty to talk about, Brett, after what happened last night.
He brought us gear. Look at this. I'm going to put one on.
He's got his own
I'll put one on
podcast
for
here.
the segment.
Outstanding. So, yeah, we'll go through the Padres-Dodgers again with Brett and relive it with him from what happened last night. Unbelievable triple play to clinch a postseason berth for your San Diego Padres, who have another huge game tonight at Dodger Stadium. Still the division in play, as we were talking about with Adam Jones. 2 hours down, 2 hours still to go. What a Wednesday it's been already. Looking forward to it. We'll get Brett all set up with his camera and everything for the YouTube stream. Everything's good. Coming up next with Ben Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We'll be right back.
Oh, yeah, never gets old. Halfway home on a Wednesday. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Such a pleasure and honor to be here with you guys this morning, and I know there's a lot of you. Boss came running in hurriedly, again, out of breath, telling us about how many people were watching and listening, and we really, really appreciate that from him and from you guys. So just a beautiful, beautiful day here in San Diego. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, the executive producer. To my left, Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor. And to my right, the very, very handsome and talented Bret Boone. Hey, buddy.
Guys,
how are you?
It's been a minute back in studio.
I'd love to have you in studio.
I like coming.
When Ben's out on a vacation, would you come in and co-host with me for a day?
Sure.
I'll pay you. What's your rate?
How much?
Like 25 an hour. I'll give you $100.
No, I'm more like $400 an hour.
$400 an hour.
Well, that's just for me to be here. If you need to shake hands, do stuff like that, it's a little more.
Well, I don't need an autograph
You don't need
session. I
to
need
shake
you to
hands.
come in and co-host.
All right.
$1,600 it'll run me to have you come co-host.
Have you ever done those paid autograph sessions where you get like
have you done those?
$60 a pop to sit there all day? And
Yeah, and I feel a little funny.
do you see it feels a little?
I like more of the come
greedy.
in, we have an agreed amount of items I'm signing, back room, sign them, you leave.
That's great.
Take a few pictures, you're out.
You don't want to see the people like turning in their credit cards.
Yeah,
and
I
just
don't
go,
like that.
Here's my-
I don't like that. I mean, it's reality. It's
It is,
life.
of course.
It's business. But I like more when I book it. When my agent will book an appearance for me, I love when he says it's a meet and greet. You're going to take pictures, shake hands, tell some stories. That kind of I like that interaction better than the sit here. Did you pay for this? Did you pay for this item? Oh, and Bret, would you put 3-time All-Star? Well, that's extra. It seems just, I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah, I can't relate to that at all. That is very weird when someone asks me for my autograph. It's happened before. It's very, very strange, but I'm happy to do it.
You know,
but-
when you're playing, it's one thing because I always went out of my way. I knew it wasn't. That's not my job to sign your autograph, but I also felt that the fans are what make us.
Yeah.
The fans are coming to the game, and I take time whenever I had, 10 minutes. I want to sign as many as I can.
Sure.
And you love when they're real fans. Fans that the little kid that just wants his glove signed to go to Little League practice and show people. That's what an autograph's all about. In today's, it's such a business now.
Mm-hmm.
And when you'd go city to city to city, it's the same people, and it's organized.
With the
and they're in
binders and
binders. And you know that has nothing to do. They could care less.
They don't care
just
about your
business.
player.
It's
Yep.
trading.
It's
and
jarring to see an adult,
It's
a
very-
grown man with a
well,
binder
and
full
they
of
get
cards.
good
Yeah.
because they get to the point where they'll have the adult and they'll have the kid as bait.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now you think it's this little cute kid coming out, and it's not because Daddy's over there behind the tree with his folders.
Eagle-eyeing everybody. Yep.
And that's the bad part of signing autographs, but the great part was sitting on the dugout as a player and just having that line. And they're fans that just came today, and they just want something signed to say, hey, I was really at the game. So that's what the autograph's all about.
Well, if I'm paying $1,600 for somebody to be in studio, I can promise you her name will not be Bret Boone. That is one thing I promise you. $1,600?
So it's funny because someone just sent me this yesterday, and I was kind of floored. But it's coming up in October. It's a New York Mets 1986 World Series team meet and greet and autograph signing, and they have the price tag for each player. Like Doc Gooden, $79. Darryl Strawberry, $99. Wally Backman, $59. Dave Magadan, $59. Someone named Lynch, $59. I don't even know some of these players on the team. Or
Dave Magadan gets $59.
Lenny Dykstra, $79.
And what is that for?
It's just like a big. They get them all together like
Big
in
convention.
in a big convention hall, and they all sit at tables, and you can sign, and you can pay for them individually.
I'll tell you, and New York is that's the place.
That's the haven.
Or you can get the super ticket for $860. You get every player plus an autographed photo of all of them together. $860.
Pass, man.
Do you guys remember like your first as a kid? And it was a little bit different, Boone. Not everybody grew up in a baseball royalty family.
No, we didn't spend a lot of time
I never
on the
collected autographs.
Do you guys remember like your first autograph, your first time meeting a professional baseball player?
The first autograph I ever got was in the mail, and it was from Nolan Ryan. And I promise you it wasn't from Nolan Ryan. It was like a rubber stamp, but I wrote to the Texas Rangers to get autographs. I used to write letters to all the teams. You get those?
But if it's Nolan's stamp,
that means
it's Nolan's stamp.
That's true.
Nobody else has Nolan. That's the problem too. Is in the mail. It used to be it's a harmless thing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fans sending me. Oh, no.
It's an adult.
You send it to you start sending stuff back through the mail. Now your mailbox gets flooded because they tell their buddy who's in the business, and now everybody's got the address, and it's kind of like, oh, he signed in through the mail. So I don't know. It's a catch-22.
I mean, I'm not now, and even wasn't as a kid, a guy who wanted autographs.
I'm
I
with
just
you,
didn't.
Ben. I wasn't either.
I do remember my first grade teacher, though, knowing I was a huge Padres fan. It was 1984 or 83, and they just signed Steve Garvey, and she showed me a napkin. Like, she was at a restaurant and saw him, and like, hey, Ben, look, I got Steve Garvey's autograph on this napkin.
And Ben's like, I don't care.
I was like, okay, well, it's cool that you saw Steve Garvey in person.
When I was 5 years old, my first baseball game ever going to at the Kingdome up in Seattle, former Mariner, former Padre outfielder Darren Bragg signed my hat, and I thought, he's the greatest player of
This is the greatest
best
moment
player
of
I've
my
ever
life.
seen. Wow.
Yeah.
There's
Curtis-
a team full of Griffey's, Randy Johnson, Alex Rodriguez, and I'm like, Darren Bragg, that's my guy.
Curtis Wilkerson threw me a ball from essentially second base. And when I was like 10, and I had my glove, and he was like, I was holding it up, and he goes, and he slung it over, and I caught it. And my buddy that was with me was like, oh, my God.
Did you catch it?
I caught it, yeah, 100%.
Because you know what is coming up soon, and you know I'm back.
Let's go.
For the
Fantasy camp.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will
January?
have my eye on. Well, I'm not so worried about Paulie anymore. I'm more worried about Woodsy.
You know I'm all glove, no hit, man. That's fine. That's fine. All gloves never been a problem. Bret Boone joins us in studio this morning. So that was something last night, certainly.
Pretty exciting.
Pretty exciting ending. I couldn't speak really when it ended, and you talk about we were just talking to Adam Jones about the baseball IQ to know, like, hey, I actually have a shot at this triple play here. Playing infield. I try to teach my kid. It's just the wheels always turn, right?
It's got to be the perfect positioning in the ground ball. It's got to be the perfect runner.
The perfect speed of the ball.
Right.
Everything.
It's got to be the right runner running. So he can, you can beat it. It was a tremendous turn. See, I always look at that. I look at the.
I know you do, and I saw.
Cronenworth, there's a great turn.
I think I saw
By the
Grant
way,
Brisbee make the point. Like in the old days, Jake doesn't get to make that turn because he is taken out by like a shoulder by Joe Morgan coming in.
In the old days too, he's playing first base, so he never makes a turn.
That's exactly right.
And I've said this from the beginning. I love Cronenworth at second base. I always have. I think that's a part of his appeal, a part of his value is playing second base. At first base, it's almost sometimes like, and he's still a young player.
And
it's
he's
almost
good
like,
at first, but
right. It's almost like my value's at second. Okay, now I'm at first. Do I have to do more offensively?
Right.
When I'm just comfortable at second doing what I do. Anyway,
it's a good point.
It was a great turn. The pitch before, they're bunting. Yeah. They're in a bunting situation. All of a sudden, they took the bunt off. Well,
incredible.
But I don't think, at this stage, it's like, it's great the Padres clinch. You kind of knew, foregone conclusion. They could have lost out and still been in the playoffs probably. It's always nice to get it done. Yeah. Dodgers are trying to clinch the division, but it's it was a great ending, great win for the Padres, but at the same time, it's inevitable. They're both going to the postseason.
Yeah, and you got, again, the fun part, I think, for Padres fans, Bret, is go out and beat them again. Go out and beat them again today. Go out and beat them and really make them sweat for a division that they did not think they would be sweating for.
Are they not 8-3 against the Dodgers?
They are, yeah.
I mean, they've, and I don't put that much weight in it, the regular season. But if they do have to face each other in the postseason, it's kind of like, we've kind of beaten your butt all year, right?
Right.
And it's kind of it's an unsaid, but both sides know. Yeah. Like, wow, they've been tough on us this year, and the Padres kind of have that little edge of, we know we've been tough on them, and they know it.
Well, Dave Roberts, of course, did not give the Padres any credit. He said that the Dodgers have not matched the Padres' energy. So that's probably what it is. We just
you think that's
energy.
An insult?
I always take everything.
You take that as an insult. Some people would say it's a compliment. Hey, look at how much energy the Padres are bringing. You see it as
I know the subject.
We're more talented. We're just not.
Yeah, 100%.
We're just not trying as hard as them, and that's why we're losing. It's an insult in your mind.
It's always an insult. I
see it as a soundbite.
It's a passive aggressive insult, and it always has been. It always has been from Dave. Dave's never admitted Padres are better than us right now. So, and that's just how it is. Sorry, nothing personal.
I mean, there aren't any managers who admit another team is well. I mean, sometimes you see it. But when you're fairly equal in the standings, you're not going to sit there and go, yeah, that team's just better than us right now.
If I were a manager, I'd say this team has kicked the crap out of us. 8 out of 11 times, and we got to play better. We're better than
It's
this.
how you say it. It's who says it, how it's taken. The bottom line is the Dodgers have a better record than the Padres.
Right. That's exactly right.
So I'm not going to say that about my team.
Yeah.
But maybe as a motivator, hey,
figure it out.
They're kicking our butt.
I do think the Dodgers will be highly motivated these next 2 days. They didn't have to use their back end of the bullpen, so they're fresh. They didn't pop any champagne bottles last night.
No.
They're coming in hot and trying to win this game big time, but they have to do it against Dylan Cease tonight, which, great equalizer when you go up against a power arm like that, Booney.
It doesn't get easier. The entire Padres, the staff is really solid. This starting rotation is solid. Then you get to the bullpen. I know Suarez has had some hiccups recently, but those acquisitions at the trading deadline are they're just lurking. And to go with an already decent pen, you go from decent pen to arguably best pen in the National League.
Super pen, yeah.
And it's pretty awesome, and everybody knows it. And I've said it all year. Are the Padres the most talented offense? Probably not, but there's something about them. I've been to a few games this year
together,
and
the way
there's
they
something
work.
you see, and you can't really. You can't say why. It's just a feeling, an aura that they kind of have, and they're really having fun, and it seems like they really like one another. That's when you get that true team chemistry. Is like when you're, and somebody asked me about chemistry, and I said, it's when you genuinely can sit on the top step and cheer for your teammate.
Yeah, you told us that, and you said it doesn't always
happen. You always do the right thing. You clap when you're supposed to clap.
Exactly. You show up.
You say, way to go.
High five.
But when you're genuinely cheering for one another, that's when you got something special. I'm not down on the field. I'm not in that clubhouse. But from what I see as a fan watching, they've got that.
Yeah.
That's pretty special.
We love story time with Bret Boone, and since we've got him in studio,
what do we got?
When we come back, well, since we just saw the champagne bottles popping last night, I want to ask you about your most memorable celebration in your baseball career, and if it ever happened, having another team celebrate on your field like the Padres did on the Dodgers last night. So we'll get to that coming up, and our chat reminds me that Dave Roberts does sometimes offer unsolicited praise if you know him well enough.
Ben, you do a great job.
See?
Yeah. Why are you defending Dave Roberts?
I mean, he does praise occasionally.
Go Dave Roberts.
We'll come back with more Bret Boone in studio right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else. Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
There's Nevin left and then Aaron left.
Most people, whatever their line of work, radio host, working in an office somewhere, lawyer, you don't have champagne popping celebrations in the office. That is something that is fairly exclusive to sports and even more exclusive to baseball. And in baseball, they do it more than any other sport. I mean, you got clinch the playoffs, clinch the division, clinch the wild card series, divisional series, championship series, World Series. I mean, you could have as many as, 5 champagne popping celebrations if you do it right and you go all out every single time. And we've had this discussion, Woods. Maybe dial it back a little bit, save it for the, the big one at the end. And the argument that, hey, this is special. You're not going to do it very often. Enjoy yourself. You've earned it. And we got Bret Boone in studio. So I wanted you to just tell me, what was your most memorable champagne popping celebration and what your overall thought is on celebrations now in baseball?
Well, I think they're a part. They always have been. Nowadays with the schedule, and it's now not really the postseason. It's more of a tournament.
Yeah.
It used to be the playoffs. Now it's a tournament. So there's, like Ben was saying, you've got potential to do it 5 times if things go perfect. For me, the first time I went to the playoffs, 1994, we had a great team in Cincinnati. We kind of were wire to wire first place, and but that was the strike year, so that got canceled. So we didn't get to celebrate. So the next year we did the same thing, 1995, and that was the first time when we won the division. That was my first champagne celebration, and it was really cool. So that's the one I remember the most. We ended up going to beat the Dodgers. That was big for us. I remember Tommy Lasorda coming over and congratulating. I thought it was a real class act. In the middle of our party.
That is a class move, actually. Now that I think about it,
It made me think very highly of Tommy. And I always loved Tommy as a character.
I've heard some great stories about that guy.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Then I went to the Braves. It was the next time I got to the postseason, and their attitude was kind of lunch pail. And it was kind of down to the shares the shares meeting at the end of the year when you sit around and guys start.
This is fascinating. To
What
me.
do you,
if you don't know what
think?
he's talking about,
All right,
Brett,
I'll
explain
give
what
you a
the
little more
shares is in a
context.
second.
All right,
here.
shares
Yeah.
meeting at the end of the season. When you go to the postseason, you sit down, you have a shares meeting. It's players only, and you sit there and you vote on who's going to get a share of this playoff feed, no matter how far you go. Because at each level, there's a certain amount of money that teams in the playoffs get.
Like a star player, obviously, you're getting a full share.
No. It's kind of, if you're on the roster and you're a full-time player start to finish, you get a full share. That's just what it is.
But for guys who maybe were traded away or came up in the middle of the season, the players get to decide. You're getting a 50% share.
Guy that came up and sat on the bench for four months and played once in a while might not get as much as a guy that came up and played every day. Nowadays, I think they pretty much go on time to eliminate the
hard
problems.
feelings. Yeah.
And it's just how many days do you have? That's what your share is. So anyway, you get to the shares, and now you get the coaching staff, and they usually all of them get a full share, and obviously the manager gets a full share. Now you go to traveling secretaries. Do they get a share? Does the grounds crew get a share? So I remember we're in Atlanta, and this is my second time going to the postseason, and Tommy Glavine, I'll never forget, he's leading the meeting. He's kind of was the captain of the meeting, and they're going around. They're giving shares to everybody. Like, let's give 3 to the grounds crew. And I raised my hand. I said, what about the hot dog guy? And I remember Tommy looks at me, kind of a wry smile, and he goes, Boone, hey, we here in Atlanta, we go to the postseason every year, so we take care of our people. And he starts laughing, and I start laughing. You know, like, he's right. They've been to the postseason 10 years in a row.
Wow.
I'm just kind of, I said, well, Tommy, guys, like, you know, some of us in the room, we had just come over. Brian Jordan was a new player. We had a few new guys. And I said, for the rest of us, this is kind of new for us.
Yeah.
You know, this is my second one. And it was kind of a laughing situation, but I understood. Anyway.
And keep in mind, like for a player, the playoff money is fine, but their salary usually is pretty big, and it's just a little nice little bonus. If you give a full or even a half share to a clubhouse attendant,
or something,
that may triple their salary for the entire
Life-changing.
year. That's
And
life-changing money.
And in Seattle, where I kind of had a lot more, I kind of ran that meeting.
Yeah.
You know, we had crew behind the scenes that really worked hard.
Sure.
And there were 4 of them, and the Bat Boys, and we'd give the Bat Boy, you know, a Bat Boy get an eighth of a share, and it's like, wait a minute, I'm working for $9 an hour. This is pretty awesome.
Yeah,
so
100%.
It's cool. The guys that really put the effort in throughout the year, and to reward them with even a share, half share, quarter share, it's really cool to see how that changes their life. So you always want to try to take care of the guys that take care of you along the way.
I don't know the answer to this, Brandon, and I'm curious. Broadcasters that work for the team, like Don and Mudd and Jesse and Tony,
Usually
no
not.
shares? No shares.
Usually it's a traveling secretary, the PR guy.
Yeah.
He might get a little bit. It goes to the grounds crew. In Atlanta, we gave the grounds crew a share, or we might have given them 2 shares to split. So it was interesting getting your question about the champagne. So in Atlanta, the champagne celebration was kind of low key. Like the narrative was, we do this every year. It's not that big of a deal. So when we clinched, it was kind of a real low key celebration. And as we won more, they got a little more boisterous. We won the next round. Then we went to the World Series, and we didn't get to have champagne in the World Series. But fast forward to my Seattle years, we won 116 games. That was the first celebration. But we were coming off 9/11, so it was a little bit of a dismal celebration. Yeah. Now you clinch. Well, we clinched. You know, when you win 116, you're usually going to clinch. And then it was the next round and the next round. So, long story short, and I know I'm being long-winded about it.
We don't care.
But
keep going.
Keep going.
the celebrations tend to get a little bit better as you win.
Sure.
You know, you win the first series, it's a little bigger than winning the division. And then you win the next series, whoa, one step closer to that World Series, maybe let your hair down a little more. So that's basically how they go.
The craziest thing I think is how many baseball players I know that played in the minors that had the ability to go out and get absolutely just schnocked the night before a game and then go out and play well. And it's crazy. Like I couldn't have a couple beers the night before. I'd be like, I'm out. I'm not going to be at my best. My focus is going to be up. A lot of them were like, hey, playing hungover, I feel relaxed, and it makes me focus. Like for you, could you do that? I feel like you could. I feel like you were pretty good.
I really could.
I had a feeling.
Now those are the old days. Those are my partying days. I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
But I'd have to say, I had a few days where you had to kind of tape my eye open to get out there. It's like, where were you last? Oh, nowhere.
Nowhere.
That's why I laughed at the. And it's not funny, but the kid got sent down.
C.J. Abrams, former
Padres. And
I
I just went, what is this? What is this JC ball? Oh. Did you get in trouble? The bottom line is you're a grown man. If you're not getting the job done, well, then you get sent down. But
he was getting the job done at the time. He's
believe
hitting really
me,
well.
I've had a few of those 8 a.m.s where, no, got a day. I forgot we had a day game. I thought we were a game of the week. I thought it was 6 o'clock.
Man, you read the stories about Mickey Mantle, being out all night. Oh, my God.
I wouldn't suggest doing it on the regular, but
you got to howl at the moon every now and then.
I would lie if I say I didn't roll into the clubhouse a few days a little off my game.
Sure.
And I'll tell you, I had some unbelievable results. I remember one time, and this other guy one of my best friends in the game, Seattle, we're in Chicago, and it was
best city.
We go out, and it's 5 a.m.
They don't shut down till 5.
I haven't gone to sleep yet, and I'm thinking we're the game of the week. We got the ESPN game, 5 o'clock. I'm sitting there in my unnamed teammate's room, and we're kind of He's getting his suitcase packed because it's getaway day. And he goes, well, it's time to go to the ballpark. I said, what are you talking about? We got a 5 o'clock game. He goes, no, bus is at 8:30. I said, what time is it? 5:15. I said, we got a day game? I went out that day.
Oh, my God.
I got 3 hits. I was as locked in as I've ever been. And I'm sitting there. Every time I got a hit, I'm kind of looking at my partner, and he's going, how are we doing it? And I'm going, I don't know. But, yes, I've had some games like that. Like I said, wouldn't suggest it, not on the regular. Glad my party days are long behind me. But you're young, you can bounce back.
Yeah, quick.
And you get to a point where you can't bounce back.
Yeah.
And and I joke about this stuff, and it's funny. And yeah, I had a great time playing. But the players today, it's a different world. They talk about REM sleep. They've got computers telling them how much sleep they need to get.
14 hours a day or something. Like
they take care of themselves a lot better.
They do.
Now we were getting to an age where I really took care of my body as far as my diet and my training. But yeah, we'd go out and turn it loose. And it was a different time. It wasn't social media where. Now you're a big league player and you go out, there's cameras in your face
toast,
all over the place. In my day, you still had that anonymity where people know who you were, but it wasn't about taking a picture and telling everybody where you were.
Yeah.
You just don't have that. You don't have that privacy anymore. So the players today,
they're smarter about it.
They're a lot smarter about it. They have technology. They really. Like you said, I joke about the REM sleep, but they really think tonight I need to get X amount of hours of sleep, and there's not big drinkers. My grandpa used to tell me stories about back in the 40s and 50s. They had these train trips, the Mantle days, where it was big time. My dad's generation was the 70s and 80s and 90s, a lot.
Was that you that told us the Mickey Mantle story?
No.
Good luck in Cleveland?
No.
So, yeah, I just got a text reminding me from my mom. My dad's dad was good friends with Don Larson and was there the night before. He threw the perfect game in the World Series.
Yeah.
They were out drinking until 1 a.m. the night before.
The World
night
Series.
before he threw a perfect game in the World Series.
It's the culture. I mean, we had skippers in our day when things weren't going good, like The reverse curfew. Like if I catch you in before 12.
Yeah. I love that.
There's a fine.
Get out, be together, have fun, get cut loose, forget baseball.
Right. Be that guy that you're not.
Yeah, be the guy you're not.
Woods is going to impose
Because
a
the
reverse
guy that
curfew
you are,
on me one day.
Yeah, but I'm going to do
the guy
reverse
that you
curfew.
are is not getting any hits and it's not making any pitches in big positions.
So the story, somebody told us, I cannot remember who it was, but they said about Mickey Mantle, he showed up, right as the train was leaving from St. Louis. I can't remember where, but it was on the way to Cleveland. And he had 2 girls with him, one on each arm. And they said, Mick, you know the rules. You can't bring girls on the train. And he goes,
Mickey Mantle.
It was Tim Flannery.
Tim Flannery. And he says, good luck in Cleveland, and starts to walk away. And they're like, it's fine. And brings him back out. They're like, good luck in Cleveland then. And just was going to leave. And they're like, they just let him on with the girls.
Well, it's Mickey Mantle.
It's Mickey Mantle, right?
You kind of make exceptions.
It's phenomenal.
We got Brett Boone in studio. Going to take a quick time out. When we come back, another segment, and I want to look ahead now to the postseason. Teams he likes, what it takes to now advance in October with Brett Boone on Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. What a treat today. Bret Boone is in studio on a Big League Wednesday. All of our baseball coverage on 97.3 The Fan is presented by T-Mobile. Switch to T-Mobile. You can get tons of benefits, still save on every plan versus AT&T. And Verizon, use their savings calculator to find out how at T-Mobile.com/switch. Going to get his thoughts on the upcoming baseball postseason after a quick check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Kearney Mesa Volkswagen. Well, no complaints, no surprises on our roads at this time, guys, which means, of course, you're still going to see the usual slowing in the usual spots, but at least no incidents or accidents getting in your way. San Diego, don't let these deals slide by. Kearney Mesa Volkswagen, now part of Sedano Auto Group, has your ticket to ride. 2024 Tiguan S, $259 monthly. 2024 Jetta S Sedan, $179 monthly. Step up to the plate and find your ultimate VW at VWofKearneyMesa.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So, Brett, from a fan perspective, it certainly seems like some of the things you need to be successful in the playoffs. Really good bullpen. You can't be blowing leads because, you have a 4-2 lead and you lose it. That's an easy way to lose a series, in 5 or 7 games. Obviously, you need deep starting pitching because, you got a fourth starter who's got a 6 ERA. That's a way to lose a series.
We've been there, yeah.
But the one thing you can't quantify is that clutch element, that it comes, it goes, even for the clutch teams. Padres have had a really clutch team this year, but not every single day of the year. And that, to me, is the randomness of the postseason. Like, who's going to be clutch in October? Who even gets those opportunities to come up? What's your formula for postseason success?
I don't think there's a formula.
No.
I think it's, I look at the greatest player I've ever seen is Barry Bonds, and he was horrible in the postseason until later in his career. And then he was unbelievable. So I don't think there's a rhyme or reason. You talk about pitching from my generation. Randy Johnson was huge. Schilling was huge. John Smoltz was a horse when it got to the postseason. There's certain guys had that reputation, but I don't think there's a rhyme or reason to it. I think the landscape of the playoffs in 2024 is so much different than it's ever been. And we were talking about it. It's not the playoffs anymore. It's like a tournament. It's like March Madness. There's 12 teams. The player in me hates it because I really held on to that 162, and I thought, that's what it's all about, the grind. Who's standing at the end of 162? Now you can, we saw a year ago, you can pretty much play 500 and get into the postseason. So as a player, I hate it. Now, as an analyst, as a fan, I freaking love it. I think it's fun, man. It's so awesome. So many cities are involved so much longer. I think it puts eyes on Major League Baseball better than it ever has. And they're kind of following the formula, the NBA, NFL, is get as many teams in there as you can and have a kind of a round robin. That being said, I think you go to yesteryear, you go to even my generation, but especially the generation before mine, where there were 2 teams from each league. 2.
That's it.
4 teams in the postseason. Usually at the end of that year, it was the 162, who's still standing. And then that World Series champ was usually the best team in baseball.
Huh?
So you had it, but a lot less excitement. A lot less cities involved. People are turning to the NFL in the beginning of August.
It's showcasing a lot more players
But
and a lot more
with
talent.
playoffs, do you still feel like the best team wins the World Series?
I definitely don't. And I'm not saying they can't win the World Series, but
isn't that what you love about March Madness, that the Aztecs can, if they get hot at the right time, win a championship, whereas
the March Madness is a little more. It's more like the Little League World Series.
Yeah.
We've got to win 57 games. And I think baseball, all in all, is a different sport than basketball, than is the NFL.
I don't think it's fair to simply throw up your hands and go, it's a crapshoot. Let's just,
Well,
throw darts at the board. The better teams still have an advantage. Now, yeah, you're going to get upset, and when you have more rounds, it's much harder to win the whole thing.
Yeah.
But you put a good pitching staff together, you got your aces on the mound in a short series. You should win that series against an inferior team. You should.
Look at the freaking the team that jumps off the paper at me is the Phillies. When they beat the Padres a couple of years ago, you go, oh, dude, nobody's getting these guys. I mean, they're the hottest team. Castellanos is diving around making plays. Harper is so locked in. And then they get to the Diamondbacks last year, and it was like, what happened? A day went by. Like, Where's
they
that
They went
team?
from unbeatable to
like,
losing 3 in a
what
row
in
and
the
being out of the
world?
playoffs.
Well,
yeah.
I think with baseball and why it is so, it's different. Okay, let's go to the 90s of the Atlanta Braves. They won 1 World Series. That was as dominant of a pitching staff and team as there's been.
Ever.
Okay, you look over to the AL during the 90s, the Cleveland Indians.
Oh,
they won 0.
So good.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying about best teams in baseball. Fast forward to today, and my experience is since I've been on this side of the mic and being an analyst, and this is my job to break this down and tell you. And man, 4 years ago when I started doing this, I was the guru. I'm like, all right, let me tell you who's going to win. And at the end of the World Series, I'm standing there going, who? I have no clue. How do you do this? You talk about Philly, and I think right now Philly, the thing that's not talked about in Philly that they have over every other city. Man, there's something special about Philly right now and that new ballpark and that postseason atmosphere. We saw it a year ago.
Yeah.
They looked unbeatable. Like it's over. Arizona was down 2 games. They went into Philly and won that. It's one of the biggest shockers I've seen in sports in my career.
It was shocking.
Going into Philly, Arizona Diamondbacks beating them in Philly in that atmosphere was unbelievable. So that's what I'm talking about. A year ago, Texas Rangers won the World Series, and they piecemealed that bullpen, and I got to give credit to the players first and foremost. But Bochy, the way he ran that bullpen, and he just kind of threaded that needle.
He did.
And they won a World Series. Arizona
World Series,
Diamondbacks limped in, barely had a 500 record, and are 2 games away from winning the World Series. So that's why I think it's so hard to predict, and I'm trying. I'm at home, and I still think, all right, what I've seen, this is what I think.
Yeah.
But then I laugh at myself because I really don't know. I can tell you on paper who my opinion is, who should win and why they should win. But then it's unbelievable. I have no idea. L.A. Dodgers is a perfect example in recent times. They've kind of been the dominant organization. Winning 100-plus games kind of is, until this year has been kind of just normal for them. They won 1 World Series, and it was the COVID year. Yep. It was 20. So you never know. You never know. I'm sitting there watching an Atlanta Braves team that's got the best pitching in the National League. They're on the outside looking in right now. They're a half game out. There are no guarantees that they're even going to the postseason.
And then you look at a team like the Mets, and you're like, okay, Severino,
is
Manaea,
that the formula?
Is that the
what
formula?
In the
world, right?
How about Detroit Tigers?
The Detroit
Where'd you
Tigers.
come from?
Right.
The math works against everybody. In baseball, if you win 3 out of every 4 series all year long, you're one of the best teams in baseball. Yep. I mean, you're just consistent. You are winning all year. You're probably close to 100 wins. If you win 3 out of 4 series in the playoffs, you're eliminated by the one that you lost. And you're still a great team, but you're eliminated. The math works against everybody. What do you think, Bret, about the layoff? Padres would love to win this division. They could clinch the number 2 seed and have a week off then, and some people say get rusty and fall apart. And I think in the last 2 years when they've had this bye week, you've only had 3 of the 8 teams that had the bye actually reach the National League Championship Series. 5 of the teams from the wild card round have made it.
Which is awesome.
But the math doesn't work because there's been 16 wild card teams. 5 of them have made the NLCS. There's been 8 division champs with a bye. 3 of them have made the NLCS. It actually is a higher percentage of the bye teams that make it. Yeah. Because you forget about the wild card teams that lose in the first round.
Of course.
You go, oh, that wild card team won in the first round, and then they went on to the NLCS. Well, you got to remember that half of those wild card teams were eliminated before they even had a chance to play in the division series. So how do you view that week off and the bye and skipping the wild card round?
Well, logic would say, I want to get into the barn as fast as I can, which means I probably won in the division and I clinch and I got a high seed. So that's logic. Yeah, I don't want to go down to the wire and barely make it in because then I have no guarantee. So I want that guarantee. And logic would say having a break, there might be some ailments. There's aches and pains. Get it fit. Get my guys ready. But I think history has said, well, maybe not. I was doing a show, and Tim Salmon came on. And he was talking about, Tim, he does some, I think, pre and post for the Angels now. And he said, Boone, that year in 2002, when we were fighting like a dog just to get into the postseason, they ended up winning the World Series that year. He said, When we got there, we had been in playoff mode for a month.
Yeah.
And nobody knew we'd hit them when we kept rolling. We already had a month of experience. These guys were flat-footed, and we caught them flat-footed. We ended up winning the World Series. He said, so for us that year, I think if we don't have to fight and claw down to the wire, I don't think we win the World Series. It was a great point. I've never heard it put that way. Nowadays, the game and the way the game is different. The injuries are plentiful. Would that be?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable, the injuries I see. It seems like every day somebody's out. Pitcher's out. Oh, 15-day IL. Somebody gets hit by a pitch. They're on the IL before they get in the dugout.
Yeah, 100%.
Everybody's getting hurt. So I think being healthy is at a premium like it never has been in Major League Baseball. I think the healthy teams have the advantage going into the postseason, no matter what their record is, how good they are. Obviously, if you're in the postseason, you're pretty good. But I think health is far. It's much more important than it's ever been in the game. I don't know. I think we have to. Still think it's a sample size with this new formula, with this new postseason, the 12 teams. But I think if it keeps trending in the direction of it was set up to give the best teams the advantage, if we start to show and the data shows that it's not an advantage, you've got to mix it up. How do you do that? Possibly because you have to give the advantage to the team that won the 162.
Of course.
You got to give. How do you give it? Maybe you give them all home games.
Yep.
I don't know what the formula is. That's something I think in the coming years when the data proves it out, what they're going to do. But if it doesn't, it's not showing that it's a huge advantage for the team that was best for 162. You got to find a way to give them advantage because I think they earned it.
I think specifically from Padres' perspective, as well as they've played, they're the number one team since the All-Star breaking. You go, don't let them lose this momentum. I think having a week off for Manny on his elbow and Tatis on his stress reaction and Arise on his thumb and all, as you said, all the bumps and bruises that they have been nursing and playing through, getting them closer to a full strength. They're never going to be 100%, but getting them closer to that is way more valuable than throwing them out there for 2 or 3 games in a dangerous wild card series.
Well,
give me the bye every day, every year.
You saw LA media up in arms when they got the bye and then didn't advance, and you saw Atlanta media up in arms, and I came on the air and I said, you can write it down. If this happens to the Padres and they don't get it done, it's not on the system. It's on the guys that didn't get it done.
Here's what I would say to that.
You had the week to rest.
In 2022, the Dodgers, that's what you heard. Oh, we had that week off.
Yeah.
And look what it impacted us. They also didn't play a lot of meaningful September games.
Correct.
We've been saying for like 2 months now as the wild card race got so tight.
Yeah, it got
and
so
you're looking
tight.
at this week in particular. Dodgers, Diamondbacks on the road. Could it be for the wild card? Could it be for the division? Whatever. You said those are going to feel like playoff games.
And they
so the
did.
Padres are going to get a week of, they're going to get 6 playoff-like games.
So maybe keep it rolling is what you're saying?
No, I'm saying.
Oh, you're saying
I
give
think
them
you
the,
don't need any more
the
playoff
rest.
games.
They
You
got
just-
the experience.
Give them the
The
rest.
You got
Dodgers
to
hadn't
find
played-
something to play for. You always have
Yeah.
to find something to play for, and whether it's a year, you got to wake up in the morning and have a purpose going to the ballpark. And if you're out of the race, you got to knock somebody else out of the race
Right.
to keep it going. I think Detroit figured that out. Detroit, they were done.
They're just having
all of
fun,
a sudden
man.
they're in the
Now they're in
postseason
it,
being
yeah.
a spoiler.
Yep.
The Padres they're playing meaningful games. It's not realistic. The math doesn't really work in their favor, but mathematically they could win the division.
Oh yeah.
I'm saying they're battle tested.
So let's go.
Let's
go.
Keep it rolling. Yep.
Whereas
Let's
the
go.
Dodgers,
Let's win the division until they tell us we can't.
When the Dodgers win the division by 18 games, they're like, we've been on cruise control. We've been setting our rotation since September 1st.
Usually, yeah, 100%. 100%. All right, we're about to go to break.
Yeah, I think, Boone, you're going to stick around at least one more segment.
You got it.
him in studio. That's great. I want to ask Bret when we come back about a couple of the baseball issues. You played in the AL West for many years. Today and tomorrow, the last 2 games in Oakland at the Coliseum, and the situation going on right now. I feel like their owner kind of insulting their fans a little bit the last couple of days. See if you have some Oakland Coliseum memories going in there with the Seattle Mariners.
And how excited would you be to go play in Sacramento on 110-degree turf in a minor league ballpark for some of your games next year if you were an A or if you were in an opposing player?
I'd love to hear Bret Boone's thoughts on contract incentives too.
Ooh, Rowdy Tellez. We have not talked about that
Unreal.
yet. Terrible, terrible business.
We will get to all of that. Final hour of Ben and Woods coming up on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Got Bret Boone in studio. Final hour of Ben and Woods here. And Bret brought up during the break the Mets-Braves series, which now they're separated by just a game after the Braves won last night. So today, Chris Sale is supposed to be on the mound, the ace, the Cy Young favorite in the National League. They may or may not get that game in. They got that hurricane bearing down on the southeastern United States. So they could get both of these games washed out and have to play like a doubleheader on Monday, going right into a wild card series on Tuesday.
Oh, my God.
Or here's the worst scenario for the Mets. They play today, lose to Sale. Tomorrow gets washed out. Wait until Monday. They're going to have to face Sale again in a one-game makeup game on Monday and have to face the ace twice in a row for a playoff spot on the line, potentially.
All right, so today is Wednesday.
Right.
So they would
Thursday gets rained out, and Sale
can
could
bring
pitch
him
on
back.
regular
Friday,
rest
Saturday,
on Monday
Sunday.
for
Oh, my God.
playoffs on the line. 2 in a row against the Mets.
Get you twice.
Yeah, but then there's that added. Can you do it?
Can you
back-to-back,
do it twice?
back-to-back?
We just saw it. We just saw you.
That's an interesting race, that National League. I mean, the fact that the Mets are in is unbelievable. Arizona has been so good in the second half, probably
Until
only second
now.
to the Padres.
Yeah.
And now they're in.
They're-
As of today, they're in.
Are they today?
Barely.
Barely. I mean, they're
game.
half game in. Well, or Atlanta's a half game out. I'd rather be them than Atlanta.
Yeah.
But it's coming down to the wire.
It's
But,
so much
of
fun.
course, the Diamondbacks just lost 2 to the Giants. They got to play 1 more today. And then they got to play the Padres, who could be playing for nothing, or they could be needing to sweep to win the division. That is a huge difference. The Padres
Massive.
could either be resting guys and setting up the rotation. Hey, we got the wild card locked up, but we lost one of these games to the Dodgers, so we're not going to win the division. Or the Padres could be going, hey, let's win these last 3 and take the next week off. And the Braves or the Diamondbacks are go, oh, we got the Padres motivated coming in here for 3.
Trying to win the West.
What is it? They sweep. Let's say if they sweep the Dodgers,
Yes.
then they have to just match them.
Match them the
over
last
the weekend.
3. Dodgers in Coors Field, Padres in Arizona. But you don't have to beat them. You just have to match them. Dodgers take 2 out of 3. You take 2 out of 3.
How would you have hit if you played at Coors Field the whole time, your whole career?
Better.
Yeah.
Coors Field was, you always knew there's hits everywhere there.
Just salivate. And the outfield's so big, too. It's not just home runs.
Everybody
Like
thinks about it as the home run. Well, yeah, if you get it up, that ball keeps going. If you've ever played golf there,
Yeah,
you hit your wedge about 165. It just keeps going and going. But that's not where the huge advantage is. The advantage is the sinkers don't sink as much, the breaking balls aren't as sharp, and everything falls in because it's so vast in the outfield.
Huge.
So all your little duck snorts, they're all falling in for base hits. And then, like I said, if you get one up, that ball just keeps going. So there's really not a disadvantage. The only disadvantage is hitting a triple because you'll be out of breath. At that altitude. So you've got to and you can't train for it. You got to get there a couple weeks early and start, running the hills just to be ready for that trip. So just hit a double and don't worry about it. You'll be fine.
The worst I ever saw, one of the worst I ever saw was this year in St. Louis when the guys were playing in St. Louis and you're watching the games on television. It's 101 and with humidity it feels like 119. Dylan Cease walks from the dugout to the mound and he's just drenched in sweat, and you're looking going, they're in the middle of 18 games in 18 days, playing in St. Louis humidity, and I just thought to myself, that looks like being a big leaguer would be the greatest, except for that right there. That would suck.
I'll tell you this. When I was a young player, I played in Cincinnati, and it was that old, back then, everybody had that turf. You go to Pittsburgh, you go to Philly, you go to Montreal, it's all that hard, old, hot turf. St. Louis had turf. But I never remember complaining about the heat because I was young and didn't care and I just wanted to play baseball. When I started complaining was like
31, 32.
Yeah. I'd go to Arlington and I wouldn't come out of the locker room until game time.
Yeah, no
I do all
BP.
my work underneath. Because now I was an old man and I was grumpy and things mattered. When I was young and I didn't care,
terrible.
And when I was young and just hungry and just wanting to play, I don't remember ever being too hot in Cincinnati. I remember putting my feet in buckets because it was so hot on the turf that the plastic on the bottom of my spikes would melt in between innings. And I was in ice buckets in between innings, and we all were. By the time we get to the on-deck circle, we get out of the ice bucket, it had dried off and we were fine. But I don't remember going, how am
Oh,
I
the
going
sauce.
to play
How am I gonna
another
get
day?
through this? Yeah.
But later in my career, I remember Arlington vividly.
Being
Like I'm
bitchy
getting
about it.
older and snobbier, and now I'm worried about the heat. So
It was a dump.
look
too.
at those players.
Arlington Stadium was a dump.
And the guys that are probably under 32, they could care less.
Jackson Merrill, he didn't care.
Right.
Yeah.
They think it's a nice, cool walk.
Yeah.
It's a cool day. But those guys that are like
Manning
30,
and Sander.
36, 37, they're like, dude, it's too hot. I can't play it.
I'm not doing this.
It's just like us as adults.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
You play in that era where there were still some really bad stadiums.
Horrible.
Now, they're all pretty nice in their own
Yeah,
ways,
in
except
their
for
own right.
one. And it's
But I'll tell you what,
it's going away.
If
but
I
wanted
could
to ask
play,
you
I'd
about the
play that.
Coliseum.
I'd play there every day. I wore that place out.
The Coliseum?
I loved hitting
Last
there.
2
I loved
days of
hitting there.
Oakland A's baseball at the Coliseum. And you played. I mean, it wasn't when
I
you
saw
played. It
fans
wasn't quite as
unscrewing
bad.
chairs
Yeah.
and walking
They're just
away
taking,
with them.
I mean, they're not done yet. They still have
Still
2
2 more
games yet.
games.
They're taking signs. They're taking chairs. They're just ripping that place apart. Now that's a weird stadium too, like Coors Field. They got all that foul territory still. It's not like the fans are close up to the action like they are so many of the modern ballparks. But you like that place.
I loved hitting there.
Where'd you hate hitting? Here.
Oh. Well, my favorites were Yankee Stadium, Wrigley. I loved Anaheim Stadium is my favorite. I loved Seattle. I loved hitting there. Places I didn't like, Camden Yards, and
Really?
it was a hitter's paradise back then. And they didn't have very good teams. And I'd go there and I'd be like, something about it. I didn't hit
feel
that
it.
great in Kansas City. Old Milwaukee, I loved. New Milwaukee, not so much.
Yeah.
Astrodome, but the new stadium, tremendous. So it's almost like a golf shot. It's how it sets up to your eye.
Yeah,
you ever
for
get on
sure.
you ever put your ball on the ground and go, I'm going to hit a good tee ball.
Yeah.
And then certain holes you're going, man.
I'm
can
dead.
I hopefully
There's nowhere
I
to
find
put
it.
it. You look
Hopefully
out there,
I find this
there's
ball.
nowhere
I'm
to
dead.
put it.
Yeah.
And
That's the same
I
when it
get that
comes
all
to
the time.
it's the same when it comes to stadiums. It's where your eye sets up. Do you see the ball good in certain places? Sometimes it's just. I knew when I came to Anaheim, it didn't matter where I was, how I was playing.
How many beers you had the night before?
I knew I was getting. I knew I was coming out of there in a 3-game series with 6 hits.
That's amazing.
And it's just something that there's no rhyme or reason. It's like facing certain pitchers. Certain pitchers, it doesn't matter how I feel. I'm just going to come out of there at worst 1 for 3 with a walk. And other guys, no matter how good I saw it coming in, it looked like a beach ball, and I knew it was going to be 50-50 where I could squeak out a hit, and I see it big. So there's no rhyme or reason. It's just baseball.
Feelings, guts, all of that. Yeah, you can't quantify any of that either, which is
to
tough.
your point, Ben, Oakland. I think it's kind of a sad day because it's the Oakland A's.
Very
It always
sad.
has been. It's an iconic organization, an iconic franchise, and the fact that we possibly in a couple years are going to not be. They're not going to be from the Bay Area. I know they're going to Sacramento. That's going to see what they can do with that minor league park. That's going to be, especially for opponents coming in. It's like, really? We're going to be the L.A. Dodgers going to this minor AAA park? Even though they're probably going to make it really nice. It's probably going to be the nicest AAA park in America, but it's still a AAA ballpark.
Yeah.
They got to get it up to specs so everybody's
It's like
happy.
the
with
Dallas
Major League.
Cowboys playing the Chargers when they were playing in that little soccer stadium for a couple of years.
It's just
doesn't.
It
feel
doesn't
right.
make any sense to me. I don't know why. I remember in the early 2000s when we had a pretty good rival with the Oakland A's at that time. They were talking about a new stadium there.
Yeah.
It's 20 years later. We still don't have anything resolved. I think the Oakland A's should stay in the Bay Area. I don't know how logistically that works out.
By
I don't know
selling
the
the
business
team.
side of it.
Yeah, selling the team.
Yeah,
it could be done. They just need to sell the team.
he's
And he
not
won't
gonna
do
do
it.
it.
He won't do it.
I don't think they're going to be the Vegas A's. I don't. I
A
know
lot
there's
of
going to be a
people don't.
stadium there. I think it's going to be an expansion team. But I'm still not sold that they're going to be the Vegas A's. I just
So
don't
you
think
end up-
something's going to work out in the next 2 years.
You end up getting
with
stuck
that Sacramento
in
situation.
I don't want to say stuck in Sacramento, but it's certainly if you had your eyes on that prize of Las Vegas and it untapped everything, and then it doesn't end up working, and you end up in Sacramento as the Sacramento A's. That's tough. That's tough. That's not what John Fisher wants at all. I mean,
It'll be, and I have no backstory to it. I have no knowledge of anything. I can't put it in my brain that it's going to be the Las Vegas A's.
I know.
It's weird.
It is hard. It's hard to wrap my head around as well.
Wanted to ask you about the Rowdy Tellez story. You hadn't heard this, but we mentioned it during the break. So the Pittsburgh Pirates Rowdy Tellez, who had been a fan favorite, was 4 at-bats away, 4 plate appearances away from hitting a contract incentive worth $200,000. And the Pirates DFA'd him yesterday.
Yeah.
And they said, no, this is just, the business of baseball. It has nothing to do with his contract status. Well, if that's true, then it should. It should. I mean, you can't. What's your opinion of an organization that's going to do that to a player? Does that affect, your thoughts of ever signing with a team like that?
I think in the short term it'll be a story. Players will take notice of something like that. But I also think with the day and age of, there's a lot of service time manipulation going on in the game. I think this will probably be a grievance. His agent will probably take it, and this will probably be heard, and I don't know whether he'll come out victorious or not. It's just not a good look. Especially, it's not a $10 million bonus,
right?
And I don't want to discount $200,000 not being that big of a deal, but $200,000 in Major League Baseball money is not a big deal.
No, it's not.
So I just don't think it's a real great look. And like I said, it'll probably be a grievance. His agent will probably file a grievance, and it'll be heard, and he'll either win or he won't. But it's just not a good look. And yeah, players do. I don't think this is going to be the main thing on players' minds because the numbers aren't big. But I think it's definitely going to be noted.
Yeah, it's something that doesn't need to happen. It's something that should never get public, right? It's something you can even say to him, Rowdy, you're 4AB short. I'm going to stroke you a check, send you on your way, and that's never going to get reported. And and that you can do that. But Bob Nutting has proven over and over. And it's funny because I do feel like if you're a player on the fringes and you need a gig and Pittsburgh is hiring, you jump. You take it because you could be Brent Honeywell, who started the season on the Pirates, and now he's pitching in a big game for the Dodgers last night. I mean, you take that gig to get the next gig, which if you're any good, they're going to move you. But if you're Paul Skeens, if you're Jared Jones, if you're guys like that are Brian Hayes, who signed an extension, you're like, man,
well, how about this with the Skeens situation? Look at the year that he's had.
Yeah,
I think his ERA snuck under 2.
Yeah, 1.99.
Okay, obviously in spring training he proved to everybody he was ready. He was ready to be the opening day starter for the Pittsburgh Pirates, but they kept him down.
Of course they
Why?
did.
Okay, now he comes back, and now for a minute there, Pittsburghers in the wild card.
They were, yeah.
And then you start to hear, well, what if you had Skeens for the first 6-8 weeks of the season? Maybe that's another 4 or 5 wins. Now you're really in a wild card race. So little things like that, although not headlines, they're noted.
Yeah, 100%. And he would know. Bret Boone would know.
He would know. Bret Boone, thank you so much for coming in studio. I don't know if you want
always
to
a
stick
pleasure.
around, you can, but we do have. I want to play those calls again. Everyone's been dying to hear the triple play calls.
Yeah,
We
let's
got
reset
of
it
them.
all, baby.
So we're going to reset it all from last night, clinching the playoffs. We got more audio from some of the Padres, and we're going to play a little Take on Woods. So a lot to get to. Final 45 minutes of Ben and Woods still ahead.
Thanks, Booney.
We'll come back after
Thank
check
you, Booney.
traffic on 97.3 The Fan. And again, thanks to Bret Boone for coming in studio today.
Thanks, guys.
All right, here we go.
Black 17 on.
That is my number. All right, hit me.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
All right, here we go.
Black 17 on.
That is my number. All right, hit me.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
Thanks again to Bret Boone. Spent more than an hour in studio with us. Always fantastic,
dude. All day
stories and insight from Booney. We want to get back to, all the way to the beginning of the show, though. Obviously, the triple play to clinch the playoffs is a once, probably in a lifetime occurrence.
I fully agree with you there, man. Don't go expecting this every time.
Not for any team, not just the Padres.
Right.
I mean, you're just not going to see a triple play to end a game to clinch a playoff spot. It's just too rare. I mean, they happen just 3 or 4 times a season, and usually, I mean, they're not usually to end a game. And there's only one game that clinches the playoffs. Just mathematically, it's just almost impossible for that to happen.
Is it weird that the Tier 1 baseball team also turned a triple play to end a game this season, and the San Diego Padres did the same thing last night?
Super weird.
Started by yours truly against
ended by
Paulie. I mean,
yours wasn't a ground ball, though, was it?
No, it was a line drive.
That's a more common triple play.
Yeah.
The ground ball triple play, with the forces around the horn that is really rare in Major League Baseball.
Well, yeah, in adult league, nobody even makes that throw to second, and probably trip over the bag at third. You know what I mean? Like but I've never been a part of one in my whole life, and then to be a part of one, and then to see one to get you to the postseason it is truly bananas what has happened this year, and I couldn't be more happy with the way that ended last night, with Shohei standing there on deck waiting for his chance to, let's be honest, probably win that game for the LA Dodgers and rip our souls from our bodies.
And I really thought maybe the best call of Jesse Agler's tenure as Padres play-by-play announcer.
I couldn't agree more.
With the excitement and the emotion and getting everything in there. If you missed it, here was Jesse Agler, nobody out, 2 on in the 9th inning. Padres leading 4-2.
0-1. Swinging away, ground ball to Machado. He hits third, that's one. Goes to second in time. On to first, a triple play! A triple play! And the ball game is over! The Padres clinch a postseason berth on a 5-4-3 triple play.
I've watched it, you guys. I don't know how many of the views are what the views are now for it, but I've watched it 75 times, and just the turnaround, the step, the throw, the feed to Crony with such good hands, and they got him by. The one I was worried about was the play at second. And listen, I saw people.
My man was blowing a bubble too. While
it was blowing a bubble
in the triple play,
and I saw people going, "Oh, freaking Roberts challenged!" And I go, "I would have challenged it too. I had a challenge."
Game's over if you don't.
Game's over if you don't.
Yeah, you got to.
But it was. I panicked when they challenged it because I thought, oh, Crony didn't get him at second. He got him. I mean, it was just as bad. I'm sure as MLB wanted to overturn that and let Shohei hit there, it was not going to happen. They got everybody by a step. It was truly
and that's the
remarkable
play. You watch enough baseball. It's the one where you always think when he's sliding in that, oh, he got there first. And always they get the force because you can't overslide the bag because they can tag you out, unlike first base. They have to slow down just a little bit to slide, and it always gives the defender that just a hair
tick
that they need to get that force at second base.
And then the play at first, not even close. I mean, you got him by a full step.
So that was Jesse Agler. We played it in our 6 o'clock hour, though, right before the triple play. If you were listening to the broadcast, here's what Jesse said.
And you got to figure, or at least wonder, is the plan then for Suarez to not get the opportunity to face Shohei Ohtani? Best case scenario, obviously, would be Miguel Rojas somehow hits into a triple play. But that's probably asking for a bit much.
It wasn't.
You know what actually surprised me? I was waiting for Mud to throw that out. Hey, triple play here would be nice. I mean, the guy is the king of calling for the double play all season long.
Let's
every time
about, hey, just get within double slam range.
Every time.
Like, Mud, come on.
He has right there on the first stat on his sheet. How many double plays has every opponent rolled into?
Yes.
Max Muncy, has only rolled into 1 double play all year. That's incredible. He's got that right there. Now he's going to have to call for the triple play every time there's 2 on and nobody out. Don, if you missed his call, if you were listening on the radio, you didn't hear it on TV, I don't know who in San Diego that might be, but he had a terrific call as well.
Rojas on the ground at third. Machado touches third, fires to second. Out at first. Oh, my goodness. It's a triple play. It ends the ball game. The San Diego Padres have clinched their spot in the postseason after a magical 2024 campaign. Will this finally be the year for the faithful?
Oh, my God, man. Did you hear Mud in the background?
Yeah.
Was he there, or
That's
he
him.
already gone downstairs?
No,
That's
him.
Okay.
Listen,
Touches third, fires to second. Out at first.
was that him?
I think maybe,
did he or something?
Touches third, fires to second. Out at first.
Did he? Like, did he?
Oh, my goodness.
Like,
It's
not
a triple
did he?
play.
Not did he?
He.
Like, you know.
Did he?
No, like Diddy. Diddy parties?
Oh, no.
No, not that Diddy.
No.
Which you told us off the air.
He?
You told us off the air yesterday that you know, you if you had been invited to a Diddy party, you most certainly would have gone. Remember that?
Well, I mean, you know, free baby oil, so.
Free. I think
complimentary, I guess, is about.
That's why
you would have gone. Somebody lube me up here, please. Thank you.
Boy.
All right, we also had the.
It ends the ball game.
We also had the Dodgers perspective of this one. This was Joe Davis on Dodgers television.
He also was talking before that play.
He was.
He did.
And at this point, it's not a question of will Ohtani get a chance.
Isn't it?
What's going to be on his plate when he gets up there?
Nothing. Jack squat. Nothing is on his plate. Nothing.
He was
it's a
not
blank
expecting
plate.
the triple play.
Impossible.
Oh, sorry.
Smoke to third. Machado steps on the bag. They go all the way around and turn a triple play to end the game. Impossible.
Is that Grover?
Incredible.
Sounds like
And
Grover.
it's down to 2 in the National League West.
That's right.
Damn right it is.
That's why you play the games.
All right, let's move on to our Spanish language friends Eduardo Ortega's version of the triple play.
Queda atrás, Chori segunda. Lanzamiento, rola por tercera. Machado toma, pisa. 1 a segunda, 2 a primera. ¡Triple play! ¡Se acabó el juego! ¡Qué cierre! ¡Peliculesco! Los Padres están en playoff con 3 outs en la novena.
God bless, man.
Triple play and playoff. I got the two English words in there.
¡Triple play!
God, that's so good.
And then the big surprise. We were all expecting the most over-the-top version of this call from the Korean language broadcasters who have been just insane on the walk-off calls all year long. And we're just not quite sure what happened here, whether they were just too flabbergasted to give it their all. You know, they didn't get geared up for it because they weren't expecting it. But
I feel like they were playing Wordle against each other
yeah,
in the booth, and you're like, oh,
They
wow.
looked up.
They looked up.
surprisingly muted.
강공으로 땅볼 3루 찍고 2루 갑니다. 그리고 1루까지 1루에서 아웃이에요. 자 2루에서 아웃인가요? 아웃이에요. 트리플 플레이. 어떻게 이런 판단을 하죠? 말도 안 되는 엔딩이 나왔습니다. 트리플 플레이로 경기 종료. 저는 이거 제가 마차도였으면 1루로 던졌어요.
I guess Mud had gone down. Don had said Mud has gone down to the clubhouse. And so I don't know what that was in the background. Somebody yelling, Diddy.
Did he get him out at second?
Yeah, did he?
Did he or didn't he?
Yeah.
Rojas on the ground at third. Machado touches third, fires to second. Out at first.
Maybe it was Don. Oh, Diddy out at first.
Yeah, I think
Maybe.
that's what it was.
Yeah, Don is quick. Just goated for all those calls, though. Just so good.
It's a triple play.
Man.
All right, we're running out of time for everything, so we are going to postpone and just bang Take on Woods for today.
Bang it.
We are going to give away, though, some La Mesa Oktoberfest tickets right now. If you want to call and win, fourth caller at 833-288-0973 wins a pair of Hofbrauhaus VIP tickets to the La Mesa Oktoberfest. These are for October 6th, the VIP tickets. The La Mesa Oktoberfest returns October 4th through 6th. Kids and dog activities, beer gardens, VIP tickets available for purchase. Visit LaMesaOktoberfest.org for details. Fourth caller, 833-288-0973. Giveaways brought to you by Valvoline. Instant oil change. It only takes 15 minutes. You don't have to get out of your car. For directions and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com.
Sorry, I was just watching it again.
Oh, you're just
That's
excited.
why I just double cheered.
All right,
again.
let's when we come back, don't forget we'll kiss the rally roach and get you ready for game 2 of the series against the Dodgers.
Donde está el Rocho?
Did Bret Boone leave with the roach?
No, he did not.
Okay, we've got
He's
it.
right here.
We will kiss him, and we will get you ready for game 2 of the series coming up next here. Hear a little bit from last night's winning pitcher as well, Michael King. on 97.3 The Fan.
It's chapstick.
It's moist.
It's just chapstick.
It's all greasy now. It is.
balls were stretching out of control.
All right, we have another 7:10 start today. And as we mentioned earlier, while we don't love the late starts, probably a good thing for the Padres today that they get to sleep as late as they want. I'd imagine a few of them are probably still crashed at the team hotel and got a late wake-up call, and you don't have to head to the ballpark until 2, 3 in the afternoon. So
sleep till noon.
Go ahead and sleep, hydrate, have some coffee, and get back at it today. We will preview Game 2 of the series right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by AleSmith 394 Pale Ale. Things are starting to wind down around the county, guys. We're not showing any trouble spots at this time. AleSmith 394 Pale Ale, the official rally pint of the playoff push. Catch all the San Diego baseball action this week at the AleSmith Tasting Room in Miramar. Enjoy specials on 394 and more while you cheer on your team with fellow fans. Don't miss the excitement. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Now, before we officially look ahead, though, I do want to go back to the clubhouse last night. Tony Gwynn Jr. was down there interviewing players. We heard a few of them already this morning. I thought one of the most interesting ones, the starting pitcher last night, Michael King, who got in that trouble in the first inning, had the unearned run already in, but locked it down, kept the Dodgers at just the one run, escaped a bases-loaded jam by striking out Mookie in the second inning. Got through 5 high-stress innings, a lot of pitches, but got through his 5, qualified for the win, gave his team exactly what they needed, and has really been, you're never going to get Juan Soto-type value in a Juan Soto trade, but it's what the Padres needed.
Yeah, man. More than anything.
Over 170 innings, over 200 strikeouts, ace of the staff type stuff from Michael King. They don't get to the playoffs without him, I would say, at least not at this point. So here was Tony Gwynn Jr. last night in the clubhouse with Padres winning pitcher Michael King.
I'm with Michael King, the starting pitcher of tonight's ball game. And listen, Mike, Jesse and I have watched up from the top. You've had some bad luck over the last 4 or 5 starts, and I think the saying goes something like out after error. How were you able to kind of refocus after the first error of this ball game, and you were still struggling to kind of command your stuff at that point?
One of those games I didn't have anything. Upsetting because it was such a big game. But then, there's Bogey. I trust in the biggest spots of all. And so Bogey came up to me and apologized afterwards. I said, that's a dumb comment. You cannot be apologizing to me. I knew he was going to have a good game, and he obviously had the RBI. And it was really just a grind, putting up zeros and making sure that we kept the lead.
Now, I know this is a team event right now, but we're going to talk about you personally. First year as a full-time starter, you rolled through it and made it look quite easy. Talk about what has helped you get to this point this season.
I think the leadership ahead of me, having Darvish and Joe there, Cease has been doing it for however many years, and then Ruben's been my rock through it all. I learned so much throughout the season, and even today I was like, I'll be more efficient, I promise. And he was like, no, this is not a game to be efficient. There he is right there. And he's like, it's not a game to be efficient. We got a full bullpen behind you. Just put up zeros and get out of there.
You were able to settle in, got through 5 innings of work. You handed it off to your bullpen, which has been phenomenal. And just when it started to look like it got rocky, it ended up going your way. A triple play to get you guys in here to party. Talk a little bit about that.
Incredible. Suarez has been our guy the whole year. Obviously struggling a little right now. Woo! Enjoy it. But you knew he was going to make pitches. He's a big game pitcher. And then there's nobody in that spot that I wanted to go to more than Manny. And Manny, cool, calm, and collected, knew exactly what to do. Trip play is freaking cool.
Michael King, terrific season as a Padre. You got more work to do. You guys are going to have some fun here tonight, but there's still some unchecked boxes.
Oh, yeah, we're going to be playing on Halloween. That's our goal. So, and beyond, obviously.
Enjoy yourself, brother.
Thank you.
They can all dress up in costumes.
Is
and
there
play
a game
on
Halloween?
There'd be a World Series game on Halloween, yeah.
Sorry, kids.
So what did you think about what Michael King said about Xander Bogaerts apologizing to him after the first inning error?
Oh, man, I think...
and then King saying, that's stupid.
Yeah, I think it's great, and that's what a good team does. And
there will not be a game on Halloween.
There won't be.
Is it off day?
Game 5 is Wednesday, October 30th.
Okay, good.
Game 6 is Friday, November 1st.
All right, kids. We're back on. Dad will
We
be
may
there.
be-
I may be hungover, but I will
may
be there.
3-2 in a series in
Yeah.
the World Series, but you will be able to
Trick or treat. Thank God. I think it's great, man. And I don't think it's uncommon at all for a teammate to come over and say, "That's my bad, dude. Sorry about that. Hey, don't worry about it." And the best pitchers are able to pick up their infielders, and vice versa. Your best infielders are able to pick up your pitchers when they have an off day. You know, I mean, think about it. Think about how many times Michael King has given up a barrel, and Donovan Solano makes a great catch on it, or Jurickson Profar makes a great catch on it. I mean, does Michael King go out to Jurickson and go, "Sorry, dude. Sorry, that guy hit it so hard and you had to dive and make that play"? No, it's a part of the game. Now, I was as frustrated as anybody with that throw from Xander Bogaerts, and I'd love him to dial it in a little bit more. Xander has been a big game player, and he's won World Series. So, like, the expectation for a Xander Bogaerts goes up because you've been in these big games. And this isn't even the World Series, man. So I think he needs to make that play. I want him to make that play. He wants to make that play. I like what he said after. The dude is as accountable as anybody. I don't know if you pulled that audio, Paulie, but Xander was like, they picked me up. They picked me up tonight. And he certainly...
he said, I blew it.
I blew it
there. That was on me, first inning. I mean...
He certainly... He certainly came back and redeemed himself with a couple of big knocks, but yeah. So it's part of a team, man. Not everybody's going to play well every single night, and the ability to pick up your brother is something that's happened over and over and over and over with this team all year, and that's the most special thing. For me.
It is a good point. Because even the guys who had been hot, like Fernando Tatis Jr., who had the 11-game hitting streak going into the game. He took an over last night, didn't he? Yeah, so his hitting streak comes to an end. Manny Machado, has quietly cooled down a little bit. I think he struck out in like double-digit straight games. He's not quite seeing it as well. He had that one that he took that was right.
It was killer AB.
On the corner.
Killer AB.
By the way, the ump scorecard came out last night for the game.
How was it?
Favored the Dodgers by over a run.
Oh,
it was heavily in favor of the Dodgers, and it was mostly on
Color
those calls.
me surprised.
It was mostly on the calls at the bottom of the zone that they were getting, and Padres pitchers were not.
Oh, like that big one to Shohei.
Yeah,
Holy
that was the
crap,
biggest
dude.
mistake of the game, according to the ump scorecard, was the 3-2 to Shohei that ticked the zone, didn't get the call. Manny's 3-2, ticked the zone, did get the call.
Well, you're not only playing against 9, you're playing against 4 more. So go out there and score more runs than them, and there's nothing anybody can do.
All right, speaking of Halloween, as we look forward to today's game, I know what your costume is going to be.
Mine?
You are going to dress up as a giant roach.
Oh, no, I'm going to be the Hawk Tua girl. I've already decided.
Have you already decided that? Everyone's going to be the Hawk Tua girl.
Yeah.
Paulie, will you be a giant roach for Halloween?
Will you also be the Hawk Tua girl?
Has everyone kissed it yet?
No, I have not yet.
You got to kiss it.
Mwah.
Kiss the
I
rally
don't like
roach.
going third. I like going first.
Really?
Yeah. I don't want to play sloppy second
hand,
either
third
of you
hand.
guys.
So tonight, 6:10 Eco Water SoCal pregame show. Sammy Levitt, is he still going to be up there for the whole series?
Yeah,
He was there last night.
so. Yeah,
I
I'm
assume he's
assuming.
still up there. And then 7:10 first pitch with Jesse and Tony, and it will be Dylan Cease on the mound against Jack Flaherty in Game 2 of the series. And the Dodgers, obviously, they want to come back and get a little bit of quick revenge. They do not want to go to a Game 3 knowing that their lead could disappear at the end of the series. So I expect them to come out as intense as they've been in any of these 12 games that they've now going to play in all season, 12 and 13 that are remaining. But Dylan Cease has been really good his last couple of starts. He's kind of been nasty Dylan Cease. Very hard to score runs off of him. If I'm the Dodgers, I'm looking for those early home runs that Dylan tends to give up. That first inning is kind of where my focus is going to be set on. Can you get through those guys in the first inning without giving up a run? If they do, I expect a very low-scoring game. Now, Flaherty's been the Dodgers' best pitcher since they acquired him at the All-Star break or at the trade deadline. Padres have not faced him this year. They did rough him up last year, but that was last year's Jack Flaherty when he was with the Orioles.
Yeah, it was not good.
Yeah, but this is a different version who's been really good this year.
It's going to be a battle, man, for sure. He's a good pitcher. They have a good lineup. I mean, nothing changes for tonight's game except the anxiety level, I think, will be a little bit down. The excitement for a big league ball game against two great teams is great. But yesterday I was a wreck. I was a wreck. I kept looking at my watch going, do you realize that we still have 4 hours before this game starts? I picked the kids up from school. It was like, yep, just 4 hours to go. And but now, you're in the playoffs. You'd love to win the division. You just love beating the Dodgers any chance you get. So you just expect them to come out and have a good game tonight. But,
I was never worried that they were going to miss the playoffs.
No, but
this
it's
week,
just nice to get it over with, isn't it? It's just nice to get it
but
done.
I hope that they come back and play just like they did last night, because I think winning the division would be an incredible advantage going into the postseason.
It would be.
Craig actually had a pretty good name for it. He called this week the fun playoffs because
it doesn't feel fun.
You've got his point was, you've got the reward. Like, if you win, you get a big prize. You get a division title, you get a bye, you get time off before you start the next round.
If you lose, you're
and
not out of it.
There's no penalty, really.
Right.
You're still going to the playoffs. You're still likely hosting the wild card. It's not like October when it's the playoffs where you have, the big reward's the World Series, but the punishment is if you lose, you're out. It's done. Your season's over. This is a week where you've got the prize, but no bad consequences necessarily. So you've got the safety net of the playoffs coming up this week. But, there's a lot to play for in these final 5 games of the season for the Padres.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it, man. The fact that those guys also know that there's still a ton to play for. You haven't gotten the sense from this team all year that they go into coast mode or cruise mode, and I think – it'd be hard to argue against my point, because think about how many times they've been down and come back, down and come back, down and come back. They've had some bad games, as everybody does in 162, but when I look at them, I never see quit from this team. I always see good ABs. There's a couple of moments in games where, I saw people getting a little upset last night that Brusdar Graterol, I think he got out with a 6-pitch inning. If Brusdar Graterol is on the mound and I'm at the plate or anybody's at the plate, you better hack, dude. He's nasty. So if you get a heater you feel like you can handle, swing it. You may hit it right at somebody. But, that's nitpicky as all get out, man. Just go up there and play the game you've played for 157 of these, and don't change a thing. Don't change a thing.
Padres bullpen situation going into this game. So the hardest work was done actually last night by Jason Adam through 15 pitches. Robert Suarez is dicey as that 9th inning felt, only threw 12 pitches, thanks to a triple play. It's nice when you get 3 outs on 1 pitch. I'd imagine they're both available. Tanner Scott threw 11 pitches. I'm sure he's available to come back. Jeremiah Estrada threw 1 pitch, so I would certainly think he's ready. And Adrian Morejon threw 14 pitches. So I don't think anyone's not available tonight. You also have arrested Brian Hoeing, who has not been used and has been excellent if you need him in the bullpen, plus your back-end guys. If you ever get a big, giant lead, you can obviously use some of your other guys in the pen.
Yeah, I think everyone's available. It's
the only guy either side who's probably not available is Honeywell, who threw 28 pitches. But
everybody, Brusdar's ready.
Yeah.
The kid they brought in last night.
He threw 17. Major league debut. I'd probably expect him not to be used today, but it was probably the last 2 guys in their bullpen. So the Dodgers, good shape going into the game. Yep. Padres, pretty good shape going into this game.
Yeah.
Fairly full strength for both sides.
Yeah.
Both are Flaherty's right-hander, right? So we have the same lineup probably as yesterday. I wouldn't expect any changes unless, you want Elias Diaz. Higgy did get a hit, got that double late in the game. It was his first hit in 13 at-bats or something. Was able to do that. I don't know if Diaz gets a start today or tomorrow. Probably starts one of the 2 games of the series. Could be either one. Might be a matchup situation. I don't know if he has a history with Flaherty or a history with Buehler that might influence that decision. But other than that, I expect the same lineup for the Padres tonight.
Yeah, no question. I don't think you're going to see any defensive changes, guys getting time off their feet. Manny's not going to DH tonight or anything. In my
outside chance, Arise at first and Solano DHing.
Maybe.
Just, sometimes they do that and switch it up. But, I would anticipate very few changes on the other side as well. The Dodgers pretty much have stuck with their lineup the last few games as well.
Might see Andy Pajas in there. Is he a lefty? Does he swing righty?
I
feel like he's hit righties. I don't know.
Is he even still on there? He's still on the roster? Okay. Yeah.
Yep. I don't know.
Edmonds been pretty good.
Yes.
I don't think that they're going to take him out of line. He has 6 home runs since they got there. Yep. He's pretty valuable. So, I would be surprised if there were really any changes.
He's a righty, Pajas.
Okay.
Yeah. Interesting. So yeah, we'll see what their lineup looks like. Don't really care. I'm confident about this team, and again, you locked it up last night at their house. That feels good, certainly. But you'd love to win this series. You'd love to sweep this series, but you got to win tonight. You got to beat Jack Flaherty, who's a tough customer for sure. But and again, think about last night. Arise didn't really do anything. Toddy didn't really do anything.
0 for 8.
Manny
at the
got
top
one
of the
hit.
lineup. Yep.
Manny got one hit. So
Profar got one hit.
Yep. So I mean, hey. That's what our 4 best players getting 2 knocks out of.
Yeah, it's all really about Crony and Bogey in the 6-7 slots.
Yep.
Offensively for the Padres in that game yesterday. That was all 4 RBI, 2 of the 4 runs scored, 4 of their 8 hits all came from those 2 spots in the lineup.
So happy for Crony to get us the lead last night. I mean, the guy's been scuffling. He's out there every single day. Love Jake Cronenworth. You guys know that. And just what a huge night for him. Something about playing in L.A. against this team brings out the best in him. And I just keep that up. Keep it up. And playing great defense as well. He saved our bacon defensively last night. So keep that
Line
rolling.
drive double play,
Yep.
obviously turning the triple play.
The throw to get Mookie at third, coming off the bag on the Higgy throwdown.
Yep.
Spectacular. Not an easy play. Momentum going the other way.
Jurickson's defense, can't say more about that and what he's done. Other than the Bogarts play, they were locked in.
I love
last
this
night.
team, man. I believe in every single one of these guys to a man. So expecting a good one tonight.
All right, Annie and Elston getting ready to come in and give you their thoughts for the next 4 hours as the Padres try to move 1 game out of first place with a win tonight. Could possibly clinch home field advantage as well, although personally, I think the best outcome tonight is a Padres win, a Diamondbacks win, and a Mets win. Because my best scenario is the Padres clinch and then the Diamondbacks clinch, and they have nothing to play for this weekend.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And the Braves lose and are out of it. So that's one thing to look at, and we'll talk about it tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Till then, for Paul Reindl and Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. Have a great one.
Monday Night Football features 2 NFC playoff hopefuls.